Hello, co-workers. Hi, Q. Nice to see you. Cover art is fire. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I liked it. The color coordination too, between all the guys that are showing on the cover. Alrighty. This is the first time I've done a stream on a Saturday. Most of the time it's during the weekday, but had some time today. That's cool. Had some lunch. And before I get too sleepy and feel like taking a nap, because for some reason every time I eat lunch an hour later, I feel really tired. Maybe it's just I feel the sleepiness. But anyways, we're not here for that. We are here instead to play Eternal Glory. So Nocturne, the sole developer of this game, basically invited me to play the demo of their visual novel Otome game here, so we're gonna see what is in store for us. Yes, let's hope the MC doesn't die in episode 1. I'm going through this blind. I have absolutely no idea what's waiting for me, so that's kind of the exciting part of it. So let's get right into it. Let's go and start. Starting from the prologue. I don't think this is voiced, so I'll voice the main character, but then kind of leave everyone else. Or maybe I'll... Yeah, we'll see. Shri Ledfen? Oh, I don't know how to pronounce German. That's her name. Please, stop. Oh, this person sounds like a... I heard from a professor that Ness is cursed, and it's a terrible curse. A curse? What kind of curse? I didn't get to hear all the details. I got caught by a professor and was kicked out halfway through. But if we touch a Nez, we might get cursed too. Gosh, then we shouldn't go near a Ness anymore? Of course. What if we catch that curse from her? I have no clue if like Schleifen is or Schleifen is male or female. I'm just gonna give that voice, regardless. At Schleifen's outburst, the kids all took a step back from me. Some even turned their heads, avoiding eye contact. Oh. It was a vivid memory of an unfortunate day when I was 12 years old. You cursed freak, Inez. Schleifen. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. I'm sorry, Schleifen, I was gonna say, who had always resented the fact that I didn't associate with my fellow academy classmates, eventually caused an incident. Who knows how much of the professor's words he had overheard? Oh, him, okay. But he even managed to find out that the reason I always wear a glove on my right hand is to hide a mark of the curse. In this year's class, I had already been labeled as the quiet and gloomy one. Meanwhile, Schleifen was an active student who participated in everything. Naturally, no one doubted Schleifen's words as lies. But what angered me the most was Schleifen was lying, so I couldn't even deny it. After that day, I was branded even more openly as a cursed wench, a bringer of misfortune. My life at the academy, which was already difficult, became so unbearable that just the thought of it made me sick. I don't want to go to Primary Academy. I don't even want to get out of bed. I wish I could just fall back asleep. That was the thought I had every single moment when I woke up. To make matters worse, now that Schleifen had solid grounds, he soon began to bully me openly. Damn curse. But I couldn't properly fight back against Schleifen. It wasn't just because my personality had grown gloomier by the day. I knew very well how powerful the curse I bore was. It wasn't a curse that only affected me. I was fully aware that just my presence could hurt or kill dozens of people. My parents never spoke of the incident from my childhood, but in the corners of my memory, I still retain faint recollections of the horrors. So if I let my anger get the better of me and lashed out at Schleifen, all the students and professors at the academy could die. Okay, that's pretty intense. Let's say it vaguely I was kind of reminded of Lacey, when we played Paper Lily, with the whole being like ostracized by her peers and family, and also having some sort of curse that we're not sure about. But in the end, the disaster I had feared came to pass. Oh. Uh-oh, and maybe she sneezed and all of them ended up dying or exploding. Stop it, Schleifen! Wow, Inez, so you can get angry. Don't you dare speak ill of my parents. They're not people you can insult. That might be true. What? You seem to think that your parents are great people, but who knows? How can you be sure they weren't talking behind your back? Right? I'm right, aren't I, Inez? Boom. What is this? That was my limit. Inez, are you crazy? I don't remember what happened after that. Schleifen, get out of the way! Hurry! Idiots, go tell the professor! Inez has gone mad! Boom, boom. Madness! Ah! Let go! Let go of me, Inez! Fizzle. Oh, he's roasting. The sound of flesh burning and acrid smoke filled my senses with satisfaction. Oh, he burning. Oh my goodness, Inez, what are you doing? Help, Inez is trying to kill me, Professor. Stop this at once, Inez. Clang. The professor's urgent shout and her spell restraining me were the last things I remembered before losing consciousness completely. Got some roasted Schleifen. I don't know how things ended after that. I just lay in bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. But while I did so, I think I heard my parents, who had held strong despite being called here and there, finally break down in tears. I suddenly raised my arm and stared at my gloved right hand, the one I used to hide the cursed mark. Judging by the lingering burning sensation, I must have hurt Schleifen and sustained a minor injury myself. Feeling numb, I removed the glove that covered my hand. Oh hey, it's a logo. Through my blurry vision, I gazed intently at the cursed mark that had brought misfortune to me and my family. What does this mark even mean? What kind of curse has been placed on me? Why do these trials only befall me and my family? Ever since childhood, I've been to countless hospitals and begged wizards to lift this mysterious curse. Once I even tried to scrape the black mark off my hand in secret, but it was all in vain. I'm still trapped by this curse. Would meeting the legendary gods be the only way to break this curse? According to myth, the three gods who guide the world actually stay close to humans. It's no use. Even after causing all this chaos, no one came to help. Not even the gods want to save me. I let my hand, once raised toward the ceiling, fall limply. All I could do was desperately pray for this hellish moment to pass. After that day, I no longer had to attend the academy. Oh, I guess you just got booted out. To be precise, I was expelled. Still, the thought of no longer suffering at the academy gave me a slight sense of relief. But every time I saw my parents, clearly suffering greatly, every time I saw my mom and dad who endured immense hardship because of me but never once showed it, the overwhelming guilt crushed my chest. So what happened to, like, Schleifen? I assume the kid lived. Maybe just got like some serious burns. Today I was on my way back home, back from yet another hospital visit, where I had tried to break the curse but once again gained nothing. The doctor kept insisting on digging into my pain, so I was delayed for quite some time. The sun was already starting to set, casting a dim light on the path home. Suddenly, I stopped walking. I didn't have the courage to return home and face my parents. Damn it. Tap, tap, tap. In the end, I turned away and hid in a deep maze-like alleyway. As the sun completely disappeared, giving way to a pitch-black night, I leaned against the wall of the alley and silently cried. Out of nowhere, memories of my childhood surfaced, where I used to enjoy swordsmanship, magic, and meeting people. I was happy back then, so how did it all go so wrong? Ever since the curse worsened, I could no longer handle swords, magic, or even face people. I want to do those things too. Am I really incapable of doing anything? Crying without making a sound had become an ingrained habit. I wiped away my quiet tears and absentmindedly looked up at the moon hanging in the sky. Sadly, the moon was so bright. Inez! Concerned that I hadn't come home until late, my mom and dad had come running to find me. Why are you out here, Inez? Strangely, my parents had no trouble finding me, even in the tangled alleys. But I couldn't bring myself to reach for the hand my mother extended to comfort me. Realizing I was crying silently in the darkness, my mom carefully hugged me. Why? As soon as I felt her warm embrace, I broke down in tears. Why was I born like this? Why is it only me, only us, who have to suffer like this? I just want to live a normal life like everyone else. Inez, I'm sorry, but as you know, our Inez can't live a normal life. Because you're such a special child. I could hear the deep sigh of my father and the quiet sobs of my mother. It's kind of nice, change of pace, where her parents are actually very loving and supportive and actually present in her life. A special child. I never wanted to be special in this way, but my mother wasn't wrong. In the end, another disaster struck once again. Oh, is this the part where her parents die? Did I speak too soon? I think I spoke too soon. Crackle, crackle. Ah! The uncontrollable flames roared violently. Thrown out from the second floor window, I didn't even have the strength to stand. Seated helplessly on the dirt ground, I watched my room, my house consumed by the fire, and I had to witness my parents' final moments. Oh no! It's like too soon! We're like, oh, at least she has a nice, loving family to support her. Well, not anymore, clearly. Inez, never! You must! What are you saying, Mom? We need to get out of here together! Remember, no matter what, if you're discovered, our Inez will. You must survive, no matter what. My mother's resolute voice echoed in my ears, even in the face of death. To save me, she helped me escape through the window, but the fierce flames didn't allow enough time for her to escape. Left alone in a room with my father, my parents passed away. Oh, what? What happened? Did she do it? Did someone else do this? No, now we actually, you can see the portrait of Inez here. This place is still just ashes. Now, an adult, I returned to the site of the incident for the first time since that day, after leaving the orphanage. Oh, so she didn't end up becoming an orphan. Oh, no. I'm sorry, Mom, Dad. But, just as you wished, I'm still alive. I still don't know what this curse on me is, but there hasn't been a single accident while I've been at the orphanage. As I quietly muttered to myself, my voice began to tremble. I looked down at the glove I had worn on my right hand for as long as I could remember. Before I knew it, tears started falling, one after another. I tried to become a strong adult who doesn't cry, but I guess I'm still far from that. Letting out a deep sigh, I steadied myself once again. With a determined smile, I clenched my fist tightly. Who's this girl? Just then, I heard a strange voice. Huh? As I quickly turned around, I saw three men staring intently at me. What are the chances? I mean, she's not really. I guess she hasn't really been isekai yet here. His parents are technically rich because the whole two-story building. I mean, like, some depends on where she is. This is a fantasy setting, right? Maybe housing prices are cheaper in the fantasy world. When did these people appear? I didn't even notice their presence. Oh, okay, so we have Uria. Hmm. Ismay and Heiz. Excuse me. Just like finding random. Oh, what conventionally attractive men standing near the ashes and remains of my home that burned down along with my parents? Great. Who are you? A strange silence hung in the air as we both asked at the same time. Hmm. Oh, she's alive after entering the ruins of this burned house? Hello, Ratchet 302. This is a visual novel called Eternal Glory. New type of human unreported any of the special cases. Excuse me, what exactly are you talking about? Discussing how you're still alive. Oh. His immediate response was absurd, but I held my ground and continued. Why are you three here? Do you have some business with the house where I used to live? Is it? Yes, this is my house? Oh no, did I say something wrong? I could sense the atmosphere shift in an instant. So here does that mean a survivor of the fire? Yes, you could say that. I mean, literally, our mother pushed us out the second story window. That's the solution. It's like, okay, this girl's supposed to be dead, but she's alive right now. So I guess we'll just take her in. It's already been pretty impolite, whoever these people are. Before that, could you answer my question first? What brings the three of you here? The three men blinked in surprise at my sharp retort. Hmm. That's right. Okay, what is this? We're here to investigate traces of the worst curse that struck this place 9 years ago. I'm like, why are you investigating now if it was 9 years ago? Even though curses are often treated as rare diseases, something referred to as the worst could only mean my curse. If I stay here any longer, they might take me away. I've already said my goodbyes to mom and dad, so I need to leave now. No, something about the curse. No, this is the first time I'm hearing about it. I don't know what this curse is he's talking about. I lied through my teeth. I don't want to stay with these people any longer. My only goal was to turn and escape. That's true. I'm like, do we have a background track here? Actually, I need to check my save files. Yeah, so I overwrite my save. My settings? Yeah, my background settings on. I guess this particular scene just doesn't have any background tracks. I really don't know anything. Don't even remember what happened during the fire. No, I just woke up to find the house burning. Yes, that's actually what happened. The lady doesn't want to answer. We can't force her. For Uriah, this is something we must investigate thoroughly. In that sense, this woman could be a key clue. We can't just let her go. We could just grab her and take her with us. Why waste time with all this talk, Uriah? The sober-haired man looked quite troubled by their protests. Meanwhile, I was bracing my legs, ready to run at any moment. I mean, girl knows what's up. Imagine just going there to find like the site of some old like trauma, and then some three guys are just standing around talking amongst themselves what to do with you while you're standing literally right there. Tap tap tap. But then, ugh. Oh, I'm so sorry. Suddenly someone running from behind accidentally bumped into me. How did they bump into me when there's just like such a huge wide open space here? Are you alright? I'm really sorry. I was in a rush to report to Laura Uhia, huh? The person who was apologizing politely looked up and met my eyes. I've never seen you before. Did you just join us for this mission? Is that why you're with these three? No. Then how? I have no connection to any of this, so I'll be going now. Though the collision hurt, it gave me the perfect excuse to cut the conversation and leave. Not wasting the opportunity, I quickly bowed my head and walked away without looking back. Yes, apparently people are confused what's happening. TLDR, we are the heroine. The heroine is cursed. That curse hurts other people. She got expelled from the academy. Her parents and house burned down, and now, years later, she comes back. She finds these three men kind of standing around the place where her house was, and they're involved in something, clearly. And we're like, okay, we're gonna try and leave now. Oh yeah, you idiot. How can you just let her go? It'll be fine, Hayes. What are you talking about? Didn't you notice? It wasn't by chance that Miss Laurel bumped into that woman. Thank you for understanding my signal so quickly, Laurel. It was nothing. I was simply doing my duty. Luckily, the tracking spell was attached without any issues. Oh, great! Not only do we encounter some random guys, we are now being tracked. That's pleasant. Yeah, now we got the background music here. Wait, so you placed a tracking spell on her? You're as oblivious as ever, Hayes. Or Highs. What is it? I don't know if it's Hayes or Highs. Okay, I think it's supposed to be Highs. Yeah, well, I've always been a bit slow. By the way, who exactly was that person? We don't know either, which is why we asked Laurel to attach the tracking spell. I thought Laurel was just the one just talking, right? Okay. Laurel asked who was the person, and Uria said, this is why we asked Laurel to attach the tracking spells. Okay. Again, it's just like a way of referring to someone. What? None of you know who she is? Looks like we got another idiot here. That's why we put a tracking spell on her. We're going to follow her and uncover the truth. In any case, her situation can wait. Right now, we need to focus on the main reason we came here. Yes, let's search the house quickly and return. We can't stay here for too long. Laurel, you can head back now. I've cast a protective spell on you, but being exposed to such a strong curse for long isn't good for anyone. Understood. I'll return first. But for some reason, that person seemed familiar to me. You think you've seen her before? It's been nearly 10 years, so I can't remember her face exactly, but I think she looked like a famous younger student from the academy I attended. Oh, okay. The academy you graduated from was Primary Academy, right, Laurel? Great, then we can ask one of the professors at Primary Academy. But that student was expelled. Expelled? Could a student even get expelled from Primary Academy? If I remember correctly, there was a big incident. You know, like setting your classmate on fire. That is a big incident. Yeah. Several students were injured, one almost died, and the entire academy nearly burned down. Okay, so it was big, and not just one classroom. Really, an entire academy. A fire? That's quite a strange coincidence. After all, this house filled with traces of curse also burned down, didn't it? We need to investigate this more thoroughly. I'll send a letter to Primary Academy right away. We should also look into the incident Miss Laurel mentioned. Yeah, let's do this right. If we don't set a proper precedent this time, the very foundation of a cavyun could start to shake. The name of the world we live in, a cavyun. Okay. A cavyun was a singular time and space maintained by the power of 3 gods. Although it's said that the 3 gods were once led, a cavyun no longer show themselves. Their traces remain intact. The Divine Ministry, which carries out the will of the gods and handles large-scale administrative tasks. So there's just a bureaucracy. So it's like the bureaucracy of heaven. Yes. The Reaper Corps, guiding the souls of the dead so they don't leave the embrace of a cavyun. And the Holy Knights, tasked with protecting the domain of the gods. All 3 organizations work closely with the gods, and entering one of them is as difficult as plucking a star from the sky. Many aspire to join, but not just anyone can. Each organization is meticulously managed, just like the strict personalities of the leaders who guide them. Okay. I too, like any other child, once dreamed of joining one of the divine organizations. Okay, so they're called divine organizations, but they're not like actually gods, or are they gods? I guess the leaders are gods? Yeah, nothing says Magic Academy like some fire that happens. Or explosions. However, as the power of the curse grew stronger, rendering me incapable of doing anything, it was a dream I had to give up. If I could find a way to break the curse, I would never have let go of that hope. Yet stories of the 3 gods walking through a cavyun only appeared in myths, and no one anywhere had ever witnessed them. She says, as I'm pretty sure she just saw like 3 of them in one spot at the same time. Because of that, I had to give up on many things, whether it was the path of an elite or the way to escape the curse. As I grew too old to stay at the orphanage, finding a way to make a living became my top priority. Oh yeah, I guess she probably got booted out. Primary Academy? A letter suddenly arrived at the inn where I was staying. The seal of Primary Academy, stamped clearly, was truly unexpected. But what shocked me even more was the name written on it. Wasn't this the professor who most strongly advocated for my expulsion? A professor who had no good feelings toward me, suddenly sending me a letter after 9 years. Even going so far as to track down my location. Though I didn't have good feelings about the professor, I thought something serious must have happened, so I hurried to Primary Academy. This is a... Wow. So far, it's the background's a bit interesting, because it feels like there's some sort of like filter overlay over it that makes it feel like a texture painting. Kind of an interesting stylistic choice. Ahem. Yes, it's been a long time, Inez. Hello. An awkward silence filled the air. Neither of us had ever welcomed each other, so it was to be expected. Meeting again after 9 years, I wanted nothing more than to flee from this place. I still vividly remember how the professor simply watched while Schleifen bullied me. Why did you call me here? Still, over the past 9 years since losing my parents, my personality had changed considerably. I couldn't let my parents' sacrifice made to save me go to waste. So at least I was no longer the timid 12-year-old girl who cowered and couldn't stand up to the professor. Ahem, you look quite well. I doubt you called me here just to see my face, Professor. Ahem, right. It's best for both of us so we get straight to the point and say our goodbyes. So what is it? I plan to write you a recommendation letter. A recommendation? For where exactly? Phew, well, there's no point hiding it, so I'll tell you the truth. I'm going to write you a recommendation to join one of the divine organizations of Akavion. Excuse me? What kind of sudden, absurd nonsense is this? Why would you write me something like that? We haven't had any connection for years, and now, out of nowhere? It's an unavoidable situation. I feel like someone probably twisted their arm. Or like threatened them to write this letter. Anyway, just be grateful I'm writing you a recommendation, Inez. Oh, so very generous of you, Professor. So yasashi. My recommendations aren't something just anyone can get. What's going on here? I'll write a good letter, of course, but is there a specific organization you'd prefer? The Divine Ministry, the Reaper Corps, or the Holy Knights? She hasn't even decided where I'm supposed to go, has she? I heard that in your childhood you had talent in magic, understanding the essence of souls, and swordsmanship. If the rumors are true, you do well wherever you go, so make your choice quickly. Sorry, but I don't think I can make that choice right now. Why don't you write me 3 recommendation letters, one for each organization so I can decide in the future? You're as bold as ever, Inez. Still just as rude. If it's too much trouble, I don't need a recommendation. Fine, I'll write them, so choose whichever you like. The professor, clearly irritated, hastily completed the recommendation letter. She just like starts scribbling on the spot at her desk here or something. Of course, I didn't think that just having her recommendation would actually get me into one of the divine organizations. Someone like me. Someone who can no longer use magic or a sword and has lost the ability to see souls. Couldn't possibly join one of these prestigious organizations. Take them. In the end, the professor wrote all 3 letters and handed them to me. He waved me off as if he never wanted to see me again, and urged me to leave the room. Wait, was it he or she? Because I thought it was... She waved me off as if he never wanted to see me again. I'm a little confused on... Ooh, okay. We don't see a sprite, so... There's some... Are they? Maybe just they? I too left Primary Academy without looking back. Honestly, the recommendation letters were useless, so I planned to glance over them and then throw them in the trash. Dear Uyera Mahel, dear Haiz Kareu, dear Isme Heroine, Huh? For some reason, the three names didn't feel unfamiliar. Come to think of it, those three people I met at the old ruins, they called each other Uria, Hais, and Ismay. No way! No way! It's a blank! Shoot! That damn professor wrote nothing for me! She just left these recommendation letters my ass. There's nothing but a big ol' nothing. Those people were the heads of the divine organizations? Suddenly it made sense why they were so confident, rude, and intimidating. Of course, they had to have someone powerful backing them to behave like that. Wait, does that mean if I join the divine organizations, they'll be my superiors? Since my first impression of them was so awful, I have absolutely no desire to work with them. And considering they were investigating my curse, I couldn't even be sure what my future would hold if things went wrong. Absolutely not. No way. I shook my head vigorously, trying to erase any thought of joining the divine organizations. As planned, I tossed the professor's recommendation letters into the trash and resolved never to look at them again. Ooh. That night, until the cursed flames rose once again. Oh no! Not at the inn we're staying at. Oh no! How many times has it been? The number of times I've hurt so many people. A massive fire suddenly broke out at the inn where I was staying. My curse, which had been quiet recently, had exploded unexpectedly. I wasn't even angry or terribly sad this time, so why did this happen? It's because we tossed those letters in the trash, you know? It's because we threw away all those recommendation letters that had nothing written on them. I stared blankly at the flames that refused to be extinguished no matter how much I tried to suppress them. In the end, the 3 recommendation letters were back in my hand. What? How? The curse that's eating away at me. The worst curse. We're discussing how you're still alive. We're here to investigate traces of the worst curse that struck this place 9 years ago. Fascinating, a new kind of human, unreported in any of these special cases. The 3 leaders of the divine organizations were investigating my curse. Though they didn't fully understand the nature of the curse, one thing was clear. My curse wasn't having a positive effect on them either. That's why they were so determined to uncover the truth about it. More than anything, they have the power, the resources, and the information. Maybe if I cooperate with them, I could discover the true nature of the curse that torments me, and even eliminate it completely. Even if it is a dangerous path, if it means escaping this misery, if it means I can stop hurting myself and others, then I'll face it head on. With firm resolve, I unfolded the 3 recommendation letters again, choosing the person who seemed most crucial to me. I'm like, girl, this place is burning down. You're at the inn. They didn't say if she was standing outside or inside. So imagine just standing around with the flames around her as she's like casually looking over her letters here. It's like, oh boy, oh drat. These flames are consuming it and roasting people alive. Okay, I guess I should go to one of these places now. Oh, do I only have 1 save file? Okay. Maybe I only do. At last, I decide to stand by his side. Yeah, it's only have 1 save file. Okay. She's just like standing there in the middle of the room being like, this is fine. Everything else is roasting. Okay, who do we want to go for? Uria, Hais, or Ismay? Well, you guys were, what, voting for Deaf School, right? Or White-Haired Guys Squad. You gotta pick your choice. Do you want Deaf Academy, which I'm pretty sure this guy is a part of, or do we want the white-haired guy? Because they're different, so I like white hair boy but deaf school. White hair girl, it's not fair. We're gonna go start going anyway. Well, I'm pretty sure we can do like we kind of covered the first chapter, I believe, or so for each of the guys in the demo. So we'll pick the center here, or pick Kai's, and then we'll go Uria next. Go try. Oh, prologue. Was that the prologue we were in? I think we were in the prologue. We're going in chapter 1 now, right? Or let's see. Oh, we may have already done the prologue. I just want to make sure. Yeah, okay. We did do the prologue. Yes. Okay, back to the burning flames. Okay. We did do prologue. Chapter 1. Here we go. Chapter 1. A being filled with taboos. Ultimately, the place I chose was the Reaper Corpse. Since the ability to perceive the essence of souls is the most valued skill in the organization, I believed there would be someone who could see through the nature of the curse placed on me. Although it's better to hide the fact that I'm cursed, I'm in no position to do that right now. If I don't figure out what the essence of this curse and eliminate it, not just I, but countless people will suffer. Of course, there was no one whose first impression was worse than the head of the Reaper Chorus, with his conspicuous red shirt and dark belt. I feel like it's funny that he points that out and not like any of his facial features. But he is the head of the Divine Organization, and not just any organization, but the Reaper Corps. In other words, there is no one in a Cavian with a better eye for discerning the essence of souls than him. So no matter what, I had to get close to the head of the Reaper Corps, even if it meant forcing myself to get along with the members of the Corps to connect with him. At the very least, I needed to talk to him about the curse on me. Of course, that doesn't mean that the head of the Reaper Corps will be able to lift the curse. But at the very least, I need to find out what kind of curse it is. Resolute in my decision, I clutched the professor's recommendation letter and took my first step forward. Thankfully, this time there were no casualties, no injuries or deaths. But the accidents I caused are debts I will have to repay someday. Oof. The amount of property damage. Wait, so the entire... So the inn basically was burning down, but everyone at the inn somehow made it through. Okay. Interesting. With every step I took, the sharp edge of the notebook in my chest seemed to pierce my heart. The notebook was something I kept to record all the incidents I had caused. Fortunately, there were no accidents during my time at the orphanage, but now that curse had begun to flare up again, painful entries would soon be added. I love how, like, her curse, it sounds like a chronic illness. It's like, oh man, my symptoms, they're flaring up again. How do I cure this? I made sure to clearly document the fire at the inn as well. I'm sorry, everyone. It wasn't something I wanted to happen, but... I truly never wanted something like this to happen again, but... I'm sorry for putting everyone in danger because of me. Especially to the innkeeper, I'll make sure to compensate you for your losses. So, please wait a little longer. Just a little longer. That man will never financially recover from that disaster. My firm steps finally came to a halt in front of the gloomy building of the Reaper Corps. Fortunately, the recruitment period for the Divine Organizations was open, meaning I had a chance to join. Unfortunately, however, my professor's recommendation letter, and even my own existence, wasn't exactly something anyone would trust. But I bravely took a step toward entering the Reaper Corps. Or at least I tried to. But it was at that moment, as I was about to enter the front gate of the Reaper Corps, someone suddenly blocked my path. The person was so tall that I had to tilt my head back significantly just to see their face. Why is the shirt so red? Oh, who do we have here? As soon as I locked eyes with the person, I had to silently gasp in shock. Well, well, it's none other than the person who casually lied to the heads of a cavyun, gracing us with their presence. Oh joy. Curse you tall people. The head of the Reaper Corps. What's wrong? Why are you so shocked? Like you've seen something you weren't supposed to. Of course! I didn't expect to meet the head of the corps as soon as I came to apply. Oh, so you know I'm the head now, huh? Looks like you've been digging around for a lot of information in the meantime. What do you mean? I only found out by chance that the people I met were the heads of divine organizations. This time, it was not a lie. If I hadn't seen the names on the professor's recommendation letter, I wouldn't have realized the identities of the 3 men I met at the old ruins. But I wasn't someone who raised my voice easily. I've always worked hard to avoid causing trouble for others, so shouting or raising my voice was never something I did. But now, it's because this guy is so irritating. I feel my voice rising from the depths of my gut. I love that, you know, you have like a pretty chill person, but then there's like one other person in their life that just like really rings out. Makes them so pissed. This wasn't part of the plan. I hadn't expected that the head of the Reaper Corps would be someone I could only meet after climbing through the ranks, and until then, I had planned to keep everyone happy. I intended to show proper respect when I finally faced the head of the Reaper Corps after making all of my preparations. But as soon as I came face to face with this man blocking my way, an irrational surge of hostility flared up inside me. The problem was that the head of the Reaper Corps seemed all too amused by my outbursts as if he was watching an entertaining spectacle. Oh, so he's just the type of character that just like really grinds your gears. Really gets on your nerves. Fine, if you say it was by chance. I'll believe you, for now. So, why did you come here again? To apply to the Reaper Corps, was it? Yes, I came to apply to your organization. Wow. It's been a long time since I met someone so stupid. Rude? You're like a complete fool walking right into a tiger's den without realizing it, huh? I was truly speechless. I never imagined I encountered someone crazy enough to call a near stranger an idiot. Of course, there were people who treated me poorly because of my usually passive attitude, but the tone of the head of the Reaper Corps was different from theirs. It was a mockingly scornful tone, one that rubbed me the wrong way. I can kind of relate. I can feel that. He's not exactly really being that nice to us right now. I don't know what you mean by tiger's den, but I'm well aware that the Reaper Corps isn't an ordinary place. Oh. If he had been like others who lashed out at me for petty reasons, it might have been better. But this man who mocked me from a superior position as if he were watching some lower being was... Literally, attitude of the head of the Reaper Corps was simply unbearable. I have to hold it together. Think about the notes I'm carrying with me. Focus. Struggling to suppress my rising anger, I tried to continue calmly. So, I need to go inside to apply, so could you move aside, head? What are you talking about? The person who approves the final exam is standing right in front of you, but you're trying to run off somewhere else. Whether you're the one who approves the exam or not, there's still an official procedure to follow. Official procedure? Ah, you must be talking about that announcement we posted. But that was just something I had a smooth talker write up to make it sound fancy. There's no such thing as an official procedure in the Reaper Corps. What do you mean? It means that once you're in the Reaper Corps, you follow the head's orders absolutely. Is this guy really the head? That thought crossed my mind, but I forced myself to stay calm as I responded to the head of the Reaper Corps. But that doesn't mean I can just hand my application and recommendation letter directly to you, does it? Whether I accept your application and recommendation is up to me. Just hand it over, wherever you brought. I feel like she's so mad. She's just like seething on the inside. I barely managed to hold my anger in check as I handed the documents to the head of the Reaper Corps. Whoosh. Without warning, the head of the Reaper Corps used magic to burn my application and the professor's recommendation letter to ashes. What are you doing? Why did you burn them? I skimmed through it, so that's enough. There's no need for such useless scraps of paper anymore. Useless? Those are required documents to apply for the Reaper Corps. Hey, I thought I made myself clear. There may be formalities in the Reaper Corps, but there's no such thing as official procedures. In the end, everyone follows my word. Still don't get what that means? Where are you? It's just him being a jerk. Oh. Are you telling me you don't even bother reading the applications and recommendation letters? It's not like I don't read them at all. I skim through them once. But those papers are usually filled with so much nonsense. Tell them to write objective introduction and they end up writing novels. Ugh. I really regret coming here. I'm sorry, girl. We'll get to the worst of it in the first run. I made the wrong choice. It's our first choice. Oh. It can't be helped. This guy's head honcho, so we gotta follow his word. And don't you already know what the main ability of the Reaper Corps is? The ability to see the essence of a being. What do you think that means? Even the lower ranked members can see a bit, so someone like me can see right away if a soul is a total wreck. And yet, so many applicants write glowing applications. So I just skim through the applicants and pick out the ones I'll accept before they even make it to the final stage. That's why this kind of paperwork is useless in the Reaper Corps. A sudden instinctual question popped into my mind. Could anyone working under such a reckless head even think rationally? The Reaper Corps is known for being a highly secretive organization with far less information available about it than others, like the Ministry, Divine Ministry, or the Holy Knights. The number of people known to work for the Reaper Corps is also significantly smaller than in other organizations. I should just leave. There's no other choice. I wasn't even disappointed that my firm decision to come here had been dashed. The head of the Reaper Corps had annoyed me so much that I was ready to completely ignore him and apply to one of the other divine organizations. Like, okay, buddy, if you're gonna be rude to us, we'll just go somewhere else. Well then, I'll be on my way. Be on your way? Where do you think you're going? It seems the Reaper Corps isn't a good fit for me, so I'm giving up on my application. You haven't even stepped inside the building. How can you decide if the Reaper Corps is a fit for you or not? Have you ever even spoken to any of the members? Yes, I've met a few, though not often. Did you actually talk with them? Alright then, stop sprouting nonsense. Whether or not you're a fit for the Reaper Corps is something you'll figure out later. Actually, I just remembered. I did have a proper conversation with someone from the Reaper Corps. What? I was just talking to the head of the corps right in front of me. Does that count? Huh. You've got quite a twisted sense of humor. No matter how strange my sense of humor may be, I doubt it's worse than yours, Head. Alright, since you're already here, you might as well finish your application. I couldn't help but frown at the head of the Reaper Corps' words. You just said that choosing members for the Reaper Corps depends on how well you read their essence. So doesn't that mean you've already decided whether you'll accept me or not? Are you just mocking me now because you decided not to? It's like, man, yeah, they really don't get along with each other right now. You seem to be under some sort of misconception. Oh, I guess I never told you. I guess I really didn't mention it. Well, I'll tell you now. Before deciding whether to accept you, I can't read your essence. What? What do you mean by that? Even with me standing right in front of you, I can't see your essence at all. It's pitch black. If I can't see anything, it means the other heads know even less about you. Since I can't read your essence, I haven't made a decision about whether or not to accept you into the Reaper Corps. My essence, my soul is pitch black? I mean, probably part of the curse? Is it? So, introduce yourself. Tell me who you are. What? But you just burned the introduction I wrote in the application. You don't know the difference between something written down and something spoken aloud? Just tell me. Speaking for yourself is much more accurate and honest. So yeah, we have just no shape, no color. There's been several times now where our soul has been all funky. What was it, when I played A Date with Death? Our essence was like way too blinding. And now we're just pitch black. I wanted nothing more than to escape this ridiculous situation. But I couldn't bring myself to leave because something had completely tied me down. It was literally surprising that okay, typo there. That my soul was so dark that even the head of the Reaper Corps couldn't read it. If the other heads couldn't see anything about me, and only the head of the Reaper Corps could catch a glimpse. If I wanted to break this curse, I need someone who can at least see part of my essence. What are you waiting for? Aren't you going to introduce yourself? Really, I had no other choice. Whew. Stay calm. All I need to do is figure out this curse and get rid of it. So just hang in there until then. Honestly, there's not much to tell about myself. 9 years ago, I lost my parents in the house where I met you, and then I entered an orphanage where I stayed until I became an adult and had to leave. That's it? The recommendation you brought was written by a professor from Primary Academy. Do you have nothing to say about that? I had to leave Primary Academy due to certain circumstances. Yeah, imagine the highs here. I imagine his voice would be kind of on like the lower end, not super deep like Leona's, but like still kind of relatively low. What a simple life. So why do you think your essence is hidden from my sight? If I knew the reason, I wouldn't have come to the Reaper Corps in the first place. The reason I'm applying to join is because I'm hoping there's someone here who can figure out my problem. Ah, so you're not here out of loyalty to serve the gods and the head of the Reaper Corps, but you're here purely for your own needs. Yeah, Idia's could probably work, but Idia's like voice is kind of on the softer end for the voice that his Seiyu is using. So I think something more light. I wasn't sure why the conversation had taken such a turn, but I was too exhausted from the head's nonsense to argue anymore. When I gave a faint nod, the head of the Reaper Corps looked even more amused. Well, I can guess what your problem is. You're the only survivor from that house fire, so you must be connected to the curse that left its mark on that house. So, in the end, you're trying to join the Reaper Corps because of that curse, right? I won't deny it. The core of your problem is that curse, and it's something only someone like me, the head, could deal with, so you're here targeting me specifically. And yet, you act so disrespectfully towards me, the head of the Reaper Corps. Hey, pot calling kettle black, like, he is disrespectful to us first. Aren't you underestimating me? Good grief. Please, put yourself in my shoes. At first, I planned to be respectful, but you, the head of the Reaper Corps, were so rude to me. As the head of the Reaper's Corps, I'm allowed to speak harshly to humans below me, right? Wow, this guy, yeah, I love this guy. At least you're aware that you're speaking harshly, so that's a relief. Her so-and-so small, you've got quite the nerve. Anyway, like I said, I'm not an easy person to deal with. If you need me, you'll have to pay a price. Is there any chance I can just not join the Reaper Corps? Nope, not happening. Damn. Normally, I pick members based on their essence, but I'll give you a special pass. I don't need it. So, from now on, you'll work like the beast of burden under me. Wow. If you work as much as I need you to, I'll give you what you need in return. I really don't need it. Think carefully. I'm not someone who makes offers. I'm someone who gives orders. Well, at least you're aware of that. So, just accept it when I tell you to. I considered joining the Reaper Corps, but I've never considered working like a beast under you. I need time to think. I never said I'd give you any time. But I definitely need it. Well, I definitely won't give it to you. It's like, wow. It's like the relationship between these two continues to worsen as they keep talking to each other. And if you talk back to me one more time, I'll have no choice. What do you plan to do to me? Good, you talk back again. So, as I said, I have no choice now. What? What's happening? Ugh. The head of the Reaper Corps suddenly grabbed my right hand, supporting it with one hand while covering the back of my right hand with the other one. Since the curse mark was just below the glove of my right hand, I hastily tried to pull my hand away. But his grip was far too strong for me to break free. Let go of my hand! No matter how much I protested, the head of the Reaper Corps ignored my words and focused solely on what he was doing. From a slight warmth spreading through the glove to my skin, it seemed he was trying to cast a spell. What are you doing? What kind of magic? Ugh. A brilliant red light emitted from the head of the head of the Reaper Corps and wrapped around my right hand. He has one over hand? Yeah, he's got one over hands, right? Soon the bright red light began seeping into me, little by little. I said, let go! Even as I struggled desperately, the head of the Reaper Corps continued casting his spell without a care. And this guy really doesn't listen. He just doesn't give a shit. But then suddenly... clang. What the... I was just trying to imprint the mark of the Reaper Corps. Why did the magic backfire? The head of the Reaper Corps finally spoke, but I was in so much pain that I could barely hold on to my sanity. Yell out profanities indiscriminately, or reason through the situation logically. Oh, she's got like a pretty big gash on her arm there too. I guess like a scar. Are you just gonna scream? You gonna yell? I couldn't take it anymore. Let go! I said let go! And you call yourself a head? If you're the head of a divine organization, you should be responsible and work hard like an ox. Half out of my mind, I spat out insults toward the head of the Reaper corpse. Yeah. Yeah. He deserves it. Can be logical next time. Sure, he may be a kind of handsome vampire-looking dude, but his attitude's the worst. His face was already twisted in frustration from the failed spell, but hearing my curses, he started laughing like a madman. Well, look at that. Can't even manage a little bit of respect. But I prefer this over some lame attempt at logic. Oh, okay, he actually... That was actually the correct choice. This kind of wild outburst suits me better than listening to useless nonsense. Smack. Finally, the head of the Reaper corpse lets go of my hand. I immediately hid both hands behind my back and glared at him as if I could kill him. I mean, he did touch our hands without our permission, and it gave a lot of pain. The infuriating part was that while I was seriously angry, the head of the Reaper corpse was looking down at me with a curious, amused expression as if he found the whole thing entertaining. You're really something. To think the branding magic didn't work, this is definitely worth studying. Especially if Uriah sees this, he'd love it. You make a perfect research subject. Good thing your magic didn't work, if it had. It's not some weird magic, and it's not harmful to you either. Honestly, I've never seen anyone reject magic that people in Akavion's organizations usually beg to receive. What kind of magic was it? You mentioned something about branding the Reaper corpse mark, but what exactly were you trying to do? Never mind, I'm not about to waste my time explaining to someone who doesn't understand anything. That's because you're not explaining anything! Excuse me? Still, thanks to this, I'm even more interested in you. So, how about working like an ox under me before I have to use some slave magic on you? What? No! Slave magic is forbidden! That's why I said before I use it. Don't worry though, I don't want to use that bothersome magic either. And it's not like I'm going to treat you like a slave, more like an ox. You'll just work hard as a proper member of the Reaper Corps. If you want, I could even give you an official Reaper position, which usually takes about 10 years to earn. So, anything else you need? Yeah, I need you to get out of my face. What an infuriating person. I don't know anything about how the Reaper Corps operates or how to do the work, so even if you assign me tasks, I wouldn't be able to complete them properly. Then just learn directly from me. What? Just stick by my side and watch how the Reaper Corps work. There, done. You'll get an official Reaper position and a mentor who happens to be the head of the Reaper Corps. Wait! Oh. Ugh. Oh, I like seeing his face falter there for a moment. As I was about to object, the head of the Reaper Corps suddenly frowned and clutched his head in pain. Damn it. I made a wrong choice from the start. I didn't know what was going on, but the head of the Reaper Corps summoned a magic clock, muttering to himself as if assessing the situation. Soon he snapped his eyes open and stared at me with a frown. Your name was Inez, right? Like it said on the application? Yeah, that's right. Good, follow me. Huh? Where to? There's something I have to deal with as a senior Reaper. Right now, there's a foolish soul headed toward the realm of oblivion instead of the realm of reincarnation. I just got a signal through this clock that something's going wrong in the afterlife. So now you're coming with me to start learning on the job, Inez. Normally I'd leave it alone because it's too much trouble, but since I have to train you, we're heading to the afterlife. Oh, okay. Before I knew it, a bright red light enveloped me and the head of the Reaper corpse, and we were forcibly transported to the afterlife together. How romantic? Ah, yes, nothing like me. This infuriating man that I have to deal with was also my boss and the afterlife before us. It was my first time in the afterlife, and it was full of strange sights. The faint mist, the unusual flow of air, and the translucent shape of souls walking around were a rare spectacle. Now that you're official Reaper, you'll be crossing between the world of the living and the afterlife frequently. Remember the way well. There's a way to get to the afterlife? What, you've already arrived in the afterlife and you don't know? Wasn't it magic that brought us here? Didn't you notice that when I used the magic earlier, I followed a pattern different from the usual rules of magic in the Cavian? Oh. I hesitated to admit that I couldn't detect the magic flow because I couldn't use magic. Fortunately or unfortunately, the impatient head of the Reaper Corpse didn't wait for my answer and led me to chase after the wandering soul heading toward the wrong realm. Having avoided the awkward situation, I silently observed how the head of the Reaper Corpse handled his duties. Ah, this is a good opportunity. What? Now's the time to watch carefully. See what happens when you don't follow my lead. What does that mean? Right after the head of the Reaper Corpse said this. Bang. What? The loud noise came from the soul of the wandering spirit. Instead of explaining that the soul had strayed off course or using magic to guide it back according to the rules of the afterlife, the head of the Reaper Corpse used an aggressive spell to knock the soul out cold. I mean, I guess that's one way of doing it. Got it now? While still speechless from the shock, the head of the Reaper Corpse turned around, grinning as he'd done something impressive. I definitely felt a strong sense of rebellion, but then... I saw it clearly, but I still don't understand what happens if I don't follow your orders. It seemed my blunt remark was a bit of a mistake. Why does it end there? It just sounds like he's just gonna beat us. Just like he just beat the soul. That wandered off. Oh wait, maybe the arm that I saw earlier was his arm. He has scars on his arm. I got confused, okay. Never mind. We'll try another. Well, that was kind of interesting. I like to see where that was going, though he did not provide much explanation. What infuriating interest. Alright, we're gonna go. We're gonna go see Mr. Urya Mahal. Let's check out chapter 1 of this boy here. The door of the cage. Should I be concerned already? Well, eventually I chose the Divine Ministry. Since it's the organization that carries out the will of the gods and handles administrative tasks, I figured it must be the closest to the gods. But no matter how close, being a mere subordinate won't get me any closer to freeing myself from the curse. If I want to be a god, if I want to ask them to lift this curse, I must get close to the head of the Divine Ministry. Though our encounter was brief, the silver-haired, golden-eyed man who was the head of the Divine Ministry seemed the most kind. Hope, well, we'll see how he is. He might be like mad doctor type. Maybe he wants to experiment on us. We'll see there. We're working in the government. We're working for like the heaven bureaucracy. That was a great relief. Since he had at least shown some form kindness, I believe he wouldn't heartlessly reject me, even though I couldn't use any magic. Clutching the professor's recommendation letter, I started walking. Fortunately, this time there were no casualties, no injuries or deaths. But I know I'll just have to repay the debt. Oh yeah, this was like before. Thankfully nothing had happened, but she's got flare-ups. Oh yeah, the innkeeper, who's never gonna be able to recover from this. Oh wow, this is certainly much brighter than what we saw before in the Reaper Core. My steps, now more determined, finally came to a halt in front of the magnificent building of the Divine Ministry. It was fortunate that the recruitment period for the Divine Organizations was open, allowing me a chance to join. But unfortunately, both the professor's recommendation and my own presence felt far from reliable. Still, I resolutely stepped into the Divine Ministry. Hello, I'm here to apply for the Divine Ministry. I managed to find the office of the person in charge of the entrance examination after asking around. But as soon as I entered the office, the person in charge gave me a very suspicious look. That made sense, as applying to the Divine Ministry required excellent magical skills, and applications were being accepted only through magic. Oh no, and we have no magic, so that's gonna be fun. We gotta show that these are distinguished academies by showing very fancy houses. But I couldn't use magic. So I had no choice but to come in person and submit my application along with the professor's recommendation letter. Did you read the notice properly? It clearly says we only accept applications via a magic. I'm sorry, but I can't use magic properly. What? There's no way to completely hide the fact that I couldn't use magic. Even if I somehow submitted the application to trickery, it would eventually be revealed during the official tests and assessments. So I decided to be honest about my situation and do my best to convince him. Even if the person in charge raised his voice and glared at me, this was something I had to endure. What do you think the Divine Ministry is? Do you think someone who can't even use magic can join the Divine Ministry? Even though I can't use magic, I'm confident I can contribute to the Divine Ministry in other ways. I even have a recommendation letter from a professor at Primary Academy. What? A professor at Primary Academy gave someone like you a recommendation letter. Am I supposed to believe that? It's like, yes guys, shit, here we go again. Do you think I'm a fool? There's an advanced magic that verifies the authenticity of documents. Why don't you use that magic to check the authenticity of the recommendation letter? Huh. He was visibly flustered when I brought up the details of advanced magic. That's understandable. It must have been surprising for someone like me who can't use magic to know such specific details about advanced magic. Advanced magic is what you need to even have a chance at entering the Divine Ministry, so his reaction made sense. Well, it seems you've done your academic homework on magic. He barely managed to compose himself and accepted the recommendation letter. Light spread from his hand as he cast a spell, wrapping around the recommendation letter. But it was clear from his casual casting that he thought I was lying. However, the result was, of course, the truth. An undeniable truth that left the person in charge wide-eyed in disbelief. Yeah, that's right, we got a real letter. You gotta take us in now. This professor really wrote you a recommendation? He seemed to recognize the professor's name and started bombarding me with questions. Still, I remained calm and answered each one. Yeah, that's my dog barking in the background. He's just huffing at me now. No, Timon. Hey. Oh, hush. With every response, his mouth dropped open wider, as if in shock. My goodness, what is this? Oh, hey, it's Laurel. I heard there's an applicant who came to submit their application in person. Oh, hey, Laurel. At that moment, the door to the office burst open, and a woman with peach-colored hair confidently walked in without knocking. It's nice to see we have a sprite for Laurel here. Lady Laurel! Oh, just give me a moment, guys. Just had to move my dog. Despite her sudden unannounced arrival, the person in charge seemed more relieved than surprised. You've come at just the right time. I was just speaking with the applicant, and the unbelievable truths kept coming out one after another. Sounds like you were having a hard time. You could have just called for me, the head's personal assistant. I would never bother Lady Laurel with such trivial matters. But isn't making me come here in person even more disrespectful? That person! As I quietly watched their conversation, I realized where I had seen a woman who was the head's assistant. She was definitely the one who bumped into me at the old ruins when I met the three heads. So that's why she appeared so suddenly. She's the head of the Divine Ministry's personal assistant. Then that settles it. Come with me. What? Who are you referring to, Lady Laurel? Let's see. Before I knew it, my application was in Laurel's hands. Your name is Inez, isn't it? Yes? Alright, follow me, Inez. Lady Laurel? Lady Laurel! The person in charge paled at Laurel's unexpected demand. Yeah, you take that. He seemed to hope that Laurel would change her mind, but there's no way he could go against the decision of a superior so far above him. In the end, the person in charge had no choice but to let me go, looking like he had a million questions he wanted to ask. Well, too bad, old man. We get to leave. May I ask why you called me separately, Lady Assistant? Please, just call me Laurel, Inez. As soon as we left the office of the person in charge of the entrance examination, Laurel turned to me with a bright smile. I don't think we need to use formal titles between us. What is this? Why is the head's personal assistant being so kind to me? Laurel's attitude was full of mysteries, but I responded to her kindness to avoid getting on her bad side. Okay, I'll call you Laurel then, but... What do you mean by saying we don't need formal titles between us? Because the head himself has called for you, Inez. What? You just asked why you were called separately, right? That's because I've been asked to personally guide you to the head. And it wasn't just anyone. The head specifically chose me to bring you. It seems the head has something special to discuss with you, Inez. So I need to treat you accordingly as the head would. What on earth is happening? Everything was full of questions, but I didn't have time to ask, as if I was hearing this right. Before I knew it, I'd been led by Laurel to the office of the head of the Divine Ministry. Well, you know what? Laurel has been nice to us so far. I'm coming in, Lord Uriah. After a knock, the door to the office opened, and there sat the head of the Divine Ministry, staring at me as if he had been waiting. Is that his chair? It looks really uncomfortable. Like there's nothing in this room except this chair and the desk there. As you commanded, I brought Inez. Welcome, Inez. What is going on? Startled by the unexpected warm welcome from the head of the Divine Ministry, I wore a seriously confused expression. But no one paid attention to my reaction, and the conversation flowed naturally. I like to speak with Inez alone, so Laurel, please leave. Understood, then. I'll take my leave. As the door closed behind Laurel, the head of the Divine Ministry's smile deepened. So your name is Inez, right? We've met before, haven't we? I'm sorry if I was disrespectful back then. I didn't know you were the head. It's alright, it's completely understandable. But if you're admitting that you were disrespectful, I assume you didn't have a good impression of us. So, what changed your mind? Why did you decide to apply to the Divine Ministry? Behind the head's bright smile, I had a strange and unsettling feeling that he already knew everything. He's being too nice to us. The fact that we have to be suspicious because he's being too nice. I mean, it's still a way better first greeting that we had with highs so far. Stay focused. I can't talk about wanting to meet a god or explain my curse, so I need to come up with a reason for applying. I steeled myself and clenched my fists with determination. I've always wanted to join a divine organization since I was young. But the circumstances didn't allow me to pursue it until a professor from Primary Academy wrote me a recommendation. So I didn't want to miss this opportunity and decided to come directly to the Divine Ministry. I see. Does he believe me? Alright, that's good. Your passion for joining the Divine Ministry is clear, Inez. Oh, thank goodness! However, the basic requirement to join the Divine Ministry is the ability to use advanced magic. Can you demonstrate that for me now? Uh-oh. We're in some... it's not good. we might just bomb this interview. Why you decided to join the ministry? The chat loves your design. It's just that simple, you know. You don't need to show me anything extraordinary, just the basics of advanced magic will suffice. Damn, just when things seem to be going well, I hit a major obstacle. It's okay, I knew this would happen from the start. Taking a deep breath, I put on a troubled expression and explained the situation. I wanted to tell you this earlier, but I missed the chance. The truth is, I can't use magic. That's unfortunate. You'll need to use a lot of magic to work in the Divine Ministry. Is there any role that doesn't require magic? Please don't say janitor. Even if it's just a minor job. As I said, it's been my dream to become part of the Divine Ministry. Your passion for the Divine Ministry is truly admirable, Inez. Does he know we're lying? Just looks like the face of someone who knows we're lying, but is just rolling with it. But even as a trainee or at the lowest rank, you must be able to use advanced magic. I realized with a sinking feeling that my choice, which I thought best, had actually been the worst. As I glanced up at the head of the Divine Ministry, I saw that he also lost his smile and was deep in thought. But strangely, his contemplation didn't seem entirely negative. Is he thinking of an alternative? Just as I need a god, the head must find me useful despite his suspicions. After all, the red-shirted head even suggested taking me away. These people are determined to uncover everything about me. Just as a glimmer of hope began to form in my thoughts, he spoke again. But something does seem strange. After a long silence, the head of the Divine Ministry finally spoke, breaking me out of my thoughts and putting me on edge. Humans in the Kavyun are generally born with at least some magical power, enough to use basic magic at the very least. Of course, there are rare cases of people born with no magical power at all, but... According to the recommendation letter from your professor at Primary Academy, you were quite skilled in magic when you were young. So it seems you weren't without magic from the beginning, but lost the ability at some point. as expected of the head. His observation was frighteningly accurate. So when did you stop being able to use magic, Inez? And this was truly an uncomfortable situation. To explain why I lost the ability to use magic, I would have to reveal the curse at its root. And now there was no way I could discuss that in front of the head of a divine organization which had a hostile attitude towards curses. It's okay if you don't remember exactly. Could you give me a rough idea of the time? But if I withdraw my application to Divine Ministry now, it will only make me seem more suspicious. Oh, girl, we're in deep. We can't back out now. We gotta see this through. In the end, I had no choice. There was only one way out. I had to lie, concealing the truth about the curse while pretending to stay calm. I think it was around my mid to late teens. Were there any major events during that time that changed your life? I can't remember that part clearly. I see. It seems like most of your childhood memories are vague, considering you couldn't recall anything about the house fire when we met last. Alright, I just have one more question for you. What did you want to ask? Did you live in the house where the fire happened until your mid to late teens? Oh god. We're starting to sweat. You don't need to answer specifically. Just tell me if anything comes to mind. I think so. I think I stopped living in that house until sometime around my mid to late teens. Once again, I lied, acting as if nothing was wrong. I think he knows we're lying. There's no way he doesn't know we're lying. For some reason, the head of Divine Ministry's smile grew wider. Inez, you're 21 years old, right? Yes, that's correct. But you said you lived in that house until your mid to late teens. That house burned down 9 years ago. Even if we stretch the definition of mid to late teens, I'm pretty sure we can't count 12 years old in that range, can we? Inez! You done fucked up! You failed basic math! Damn, I didn't think of that! Oh, yeah, it takes 9. They knew it was 9 years ago. You're not very good at lying, Inez. His voice, thickened with amusement, sent a cold sweat down my spine. I was at the brink of giving up, ready to make a final statement about canceling my application to the Divine Ministry. It's alright, I imagine someone like you has complex circumstances, so it's understandable if you lie. As I said, I won't ask you any more questions. Unlike the calm tone of the head, my face had turned as red as a beet. I deeply regretted not mixing in some half-truths and lies instead. But there's no point crying over spilled milk. I anxiously waited for the head's next words. Please, just let me go. I'll stop with the questions here, but there's one more thing I want to check. What? Now, take my hand, Inez. Suddenly, the head of the Divine Ministry extended both hands toward me. Unsure of his intention, I hesitated, but since I had already resolved to escape, I figured I could go along with this for now. Just as I was about to cautiously extend my hands, he spoke again. No, take off both gloves first, Inez. However, his next request was something I couldn't comply with. Removing my gloves will reveal the curse mark on the back of my hand. I'm sorry, but I can't. I quickly withdrew my hands and hid them behind my back. And I'm going to give up on joining Divine Ministry. It seems I'm not qualified to be part of it. I'm sorry, Inez, but that's a problem for me. What? I've already decided that you'll be my apprentice assistant. What? What did I just hear? The person who escorted you to my office earlier is my personal assistant, Koa Miyo. She'll be your senior from now on, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask her anytime. Wait a minute. As I said, I can't use magic and I just lied to you. It's fine, don't worry, Inez. If you can't use magic, then I, as the head of the Divine Ministry, will create a position that doesn't require magic. Okay. Like what? And as for lying to me, I'm willing to let it go, so there's no need to feel guilty. What on earth is this? If it's difficult for you to take off your gloves and hold my hand, that's fine. I'll let that slide as well. But... that sound effect made it so ominous. I mean, he's been really understanding so far, which has been a very nice contrast to Highs. Shh, stay still. Suddenly, the head of the Divine Ministry was right in front of me, cupping my cheek with one hand. I tried to lift my arms to push his hands away, but for some reason my arms felt as heavy as if they were weighted down by sandbags. Magic! Really, don't worry. I'm not doing anything bad. I just want to check whether you can use magic again or not. So... scream for him to let me go, or ask him if he's serious. I don't think we need to scream in this case. We can't be like, oh my god, he's touching me! Make him stop touching! I think we'll just ask him. You're really just checking my magic, right? Yes, I am. Trust me, Inez. Accepting the warmest words this man could offer, I felt the pain subside a little. Good, Inez. It must hurt a lot, but thank you for enduring it. Just a little more, it'll be over soon. Soothed by his gentle encouragement, I began to feel my vision blur. It was as if I was dreaming, my mind gradually becoming foggy. Even the face of the head of the Divine Ministry right in front of me became too blurred to recognize. In the midst of it all, there's no need to be wary of me. Only the voice of the head of the Divine Ministry remained clear in my ears. And then, it happened. This is dangerous. Soon, I instinctively realized, if I didn't stay on guard, if I didn't push him away right now, I'd be consumed by this dizziness, swept away by it. I have to. Get out now! Suddenly, a piercing ringing filled my ears, snapping me back to my senses. Regaining control of my body, I immediately pushed the head of the Divine Ministry away. The head of the Divine Ministry who came into focus looked very serious, but he allowed himself to be pushed back and I managed to regain my freedom, taking a deep breath repeatedly. Just as I gathered my senses, I was about to glare at him, completely forgetting the difference in rank. I'm sorry, Inez. Out of nowhere, the head of the Divine Ministry apologized to me first. This is an extremely high-level magic, one of the most difficult ones, so you probably wouldn't know about it. It's a spell that checks the magic levels of someone, but during the process, the recipient feels a lot of pain. That's why when using the spell, it's common to also use magic to restrain the person. I'm really sorry. Did it hurt a lot? It was fine. I couldn't bring myself to say that it would have been better if he had explained it to me beforehand. You know, kind of give us a warning in advance. Even if he had explained it, I would have definitely refused. So the head probably had no choice either. He already has significant doubts about me after all. Yes, sorry, kiss it and make it feel better. Yeah, you kiss the boo-boos away. But understanding him didn't erase the underlying discomfort I felt. But why did you feel the need to check my magic levels? Even if I created a non-magical position for you, there may come a time when you'll inevitably have to use magic. I wanted to see if you might be able to use magic again, just in case. And what were the results? Without a doubt, Inez, you're top tier. Your latent magic is abundant, even overflowing. But it's truly unfortunate that, despite that, you can't use magic. As the head of Divine Ministry lowered his gaze with a sorrowful expression, I really wanted to leave. Ugh. However, perhaps due to the after effects of the magic, I stumbled when I tried to move. But as a result, the notebook I had carefully kept in my arms fell to the ground, flipping open. No! Don't expose yourself! The head of Divine Ministry picked it up and handed it back to me. He seemed generally remorseful, and unlike before, he didn't glance at its contents without warning. Thanks to that, I received the notebook without revealing its contents, but... The first sentence of the first page reads, "The entire third floor of the inn was consumed by flames." I suddenly felt completely awake. Yes, the reason I'm here is to prevent the curse from hurting others, not just me. The reason I want to join the Divine Ministry is to find a way to lift my curse by meeting the gods. I've made up my mind about that, so I can't waver now. I bit my lower lip and lifted my head with a stronger, more determined expression. Are you alright, Inez? Yes, I'm fine, and I've also decided to accept your generous offer. It's true that joining a divine organization has been my dream since I was young, but I do have one request. What is it? Since I've caused you some discomfort, if it's within my power, I'll grant it. I want to know how I can meet the gods of Akavian. The gods of Akavian? For someone like me, an ordinary person, we know nothing about the gods. But since you lead the Divine Ministry, I believe you must know more about the gods of Akavian. Of course, I'm not asking for this without offering something in return. If I succeed in meeting the gods, I promise to help you uncover the truth about the curse and the events of 9 years ago. The head of the Divine Ministry closed his eyes and fell into a deep thought for a long time. After an extended silence, "Alright, I'll consider how I can help you with what you want." At last, I had succeeded in gaining the cooperation of the head of the Divine Ministry. Afterward, following Laurel's guidance, I was assigned a room in the Divine Ministry's dormitory. Though unfamiliar, the comfortable environment helped me relax, and drowsiness quickly overtook me as the tension faded. Even though I had learned an unpleasant truth, that the head of the Divine Ministry had a frightening side beneath his kindness, I felt relieved that, despite being the head, he apologized, escorted me to the dormitory, and even allowed me to use a name reserved only for his closest aides. Thankfully, it didn't seem like life in the Divine Ministry would be as difficult as I had feared. And although he was surrounded by mystery, the head, now called Uriah, didn't seem like such a bad person after all. As I let out a deep sigh of relief, I soon fell into a deep sleep. Oh, was this clandestine meeting happening here? Unfortunately, the situation is more serious than I thought. I heard you even created a new position just to accept that woman. Uriah, what on earth? Inez is definitely connected to us somehow. You don't mean, does she affect the balance of Akavian? Yes, so we must be even more careful for now. And make sure Hines doesn't find out. Make sure he doesn't find... Oh, okay. Understood. We'll keep it from Hines until we know for sure. Ugh. Why is my body burning up like this? Something was wrong. I had been sound asleep, but suddenly a fever spread through my body like wildfire. The problem was, I knew all too well what was causing it. Why is the curse acting up again? Wasn't it enough to burn down the inn? To get expelled from the academy? To lose my parents? Why does it keep trying to take everything precious from me? Even though the sensation was familiar, I had never experienced heat this intense. Not even on the day I lost my parents did it feel this painful. Ugh, it feels like the curse is about to explode. I tried desperately to grip the bedsheets, but my body wouldn't move. Not even when Urias subdued me with magic did I feel this overwhelming helplessness. Suddenly, someone knocked on my door. Oh no! I can't speak! I wanted to shout for help, to tell him to come in, but my severely swollen vocal cords wouldn't function. Inez? Maybe the one person who could help me right now was standing right outside my door. Ugh. But no matter how hard I tried, my body wouldn't budge. Oh! It's a chapter 2? Okay. Damn. So I guess we'll go to chapter 2. Because Uria's special. His area? What area? I'm coming in, Inez. Though entering a room without the owner's permission is quite rude, at that moment I could only welcome Uria's decision. Inez? He's here. Half conscious, I weakly gazed at Uriah as he came into view. I was completely drained, without even the strength to move a finger. You look in very bad shape. From the sound of footsteps, I knew Uriah was coming toward me. Please, help me. Normally, I would have been extremely cautious of Uriah approaching me to avoid revealing my curse. But now, as I was on the verge of death, as I was about to hurt innocent people, help me. Finally, after summoning every last bit of strength, a faint voice slipped from my lips. Uriah, who had intended to watch the situation unfold, couldn't stand by any longer and immediately ran to my side. And at the same time, my flickering vision turned completely black. It feels cool. When did it start? When did my body, which had been burning like it was drenched in oil, began to cool and calm? What's happening? You're just standing there watching. I mean, we had to ask for help until he was like, oh shit, okay, actually this is serious. I should probably help out. As my mind gradually cleared, I tried to recall the moments before I lost consciousness. But despite my glowing clarity, nothing came to mind. Ugh. Finally, giving up on remembering what had happened, I forced my heavy eyelids open. After several attempts, my trembling eyelids began to open. Although I couldn't see clearly yet, I could at least make out the figure in front of me. Is that Uriah? The silver-haired, golden-eyed man looking down at me was half-cradling me, placing his hand on my forehead. Ah, it's healing magic. Realizing that a cool sensation was flowing into my forehead, I let out a deep sigh of relief and accepted as much as Uriah's healing magic as I could. The view of near death ain't so bad from this angle. I feel like that was also the case with Shattered Souls. It'd be like, oh help, we're dying. But man, Carver is looking real fine. My heavy breathing gradually returned to normal. When I closed my eyes and opened them again, my vision finally sharpened. That's a lot of orbs. But the moment of relief from having my sight restored was brief. The instant I saw Uriah's cold, stern expression, a chill ran down my spine. What kind of expression is that? Confused, I slightly furrowed my brow. Huh. You've finally woken up, Inez. But in the next moment, as if the stern look I had seen was just a mere illusion, Uriah's expression softened instantly. What? Did I see that wrong? It seems your body is weaker than I thought, Inez. I had to switch between several healing spells before one finally worked. Let's see. Your fever's gone down and your breathing is back to normal. Seeing your color return to something more human-like, it seems my healing magic worked well. Uh, but just in case, I should ask the person themselves. If there's still any pain or discomfort, please let me know, Inez. No, I'm fine. It seems like my voice is coming back, so I think I'm really okay now. It's a relief my magic worked well on you, Inez. Thanks to you, I survived. Thank you, Lord Uria. By that point, strength had returned to my limbs. My legs began to respond, and I realized I could no longer stay in Uria's arms. I quickly tried to sit up on my own, but... Wait, Inez. Suddenly, Uria called my name and gently placed pressure on my arm, preventing me from getting up. This is bad. If he asks too many questions about my condition... Even though using healing magic on me was unavoidable, staying in contact with the head of the Divine Ministry any longer was dangerous. Of the advanced and supreme level spells I knew, there were more than a dozen that could be cast through physical contact. He's just helping us heal, even though it's bad for him. And who knows how many other extreme spells he could cast that I'm aware of. I can walk now. You don't need to help me anymore, Lord Uria. I became increasingly anxious, worried that Uria might bring up the curse again. I quickly glanced down my right hand, wondering if he had removed my gloves while I was unconscious. Luckily, the gloves were still on, but that didn't entirely ease my nerves. Lord Uria, really, you don't need to support me anymore. I'm fine. Are you worried that I might use underhanded methods to find out more about you, Inez? I won't deny it. He's got he does give off a, the sense of being a very kind person, and he has been very kind to us so far, but there is something still kind of sus about him. Then don't worry, I have no intention of probing you why you were in such a state. Even while you were unconscious, I focused solely on healing you. I didn't use any strange magic. Oh. I didn't know how to respond to that. I can't thank him, but I also can't ask him why he didn't use underhanded methods. You seem quite curious about my actions, Inez. Well, it's alright to ask questions if you have them now. There's no need to hesitate. Besides, from the start, you've been a mystery big enough to baffle the leaders of all three organizations in the Kavyun. Well, that's... More importantly, our deal was that I would help you meet the gods of Kavyun, and in return, you would assist me with the investigation into the curse from 9 years ago. Like I said, there's no need to be so wary of me. It seems you fully recovered, so I'll let you go now. Uria stepped back and I collapsed onto the bed. Even though I was confused by everything, I knew I had to properly close the situation. I don't know why you came to check on me, but thanks to you, I made it through this crisis. I'm truly grateful for that. It was fortunate I came at the right time. Since it's your first time staying at the Divine Ministry dormitory, I stopped by to see if you had any discomfort. Meanwhile, we were just full of discomfort. It seems I arrived just in time to help. And now it's time for me to take my leave. I hope you have a peaceful night, Inez. With a slight wave and a gentle smile, Uria left the room. Phew. After he left, I let out a long sigh of relief and crawled under the blankets. Having narrowly survived a dangerous ordeal, the tension quickly drained from my body, and sleepiness overcame me. Hoping to get through the night safely, as Uria had encouraged, I soon drifted off into a deep sleep. Okay. Oh, I was so confused for a moment. I'm like, wait, why is it showing a picture of my bed? Why does it look like a scene from a horror game? Do you have any idea how badly your daughter hurt my son? How how are you gonna take responsibility? My son almost lost his entire arm, so how will you make this right? Please, please stop. It was a terrible day when I was 12 years old. No, to be exact, it was a memory of that day. The evening of the day I lost my parents. Ahem, in this case, Inez is clearly at fault. I was a poopy professor. Also, the fact that the entire Primary Academy was almost engulfed in flames makes it too difficult for me to handle on my own. Therefore, Inez's parents will need to take significant responsibility. Responsibility? Before you talk about responsibility, you should make sure your daughter gives my son a proper apology. The professor, who had turned a blind eye to Schleifen's constant bullying, suddenly came to our house with Schleifen's parents. Inez, go to your room. But... It's okay, your father and I will handle this. Just wait in your room and we'll bring you good news soon. My mom patted my head and gently pushed me into my room on the second floor. And shortly after, the professor from the academy and Schleifen's parents arrived. That's when I realized exactly why I had to stay in my room. As soon as the door burst open, I heard the shouting and angry voices, and I pressed my pillow tightly over my ears. Where is your daughter? Where's Inez, the one who did this to my son? But it wasn't enough to completely block out the furious yells of Schleifen's parents, who were livid. Please, please. My hands clutching the pillow were trembling. With my face buried in the bed, I began to cry, wishing for those 3 people to leave our house. But in the end... Ugh. Not only did I suffer from a high fever last night, but I also had a terrible nightmare. As morning came, still feeling half asleep, I managed to get dressed for work at the Divine Ministry. First day on the job, guys! Let's carpe diem. Let's do this. Inez, are you inside? Laurel? As soon as I heard Laurel's voice from outside, I quickly opened the door. With a gentle smile, as if she had been waiting for me, Laurel quickly got to the point. Lord Uriah has summoned you, Inez. What? Lord Uriah called for me? Why? I didn't hear the details, so you'll have to ask him directly, Inez. Still feeling quite confused, I followed Laurel to Lord Uriah's office early in the morning. Welcome, Inez. Standing before both my direct superior and the highest ranking officer, I cautiously asked the question that had been bothering me. You could have summoned me through Laurel as you did today. Why did you personally come to see me last night? Laurel needed to rest at night, Inez. But still, I didn't expect the head of the Divine Ministry to personally come see someone as low-ranking as me. It seems you need a more convincing explanation, Inez. Alright, I suppose I can explain it further. As you'll come to learn while working at the Divine Ministry, I am not only the head of the Divine Ministry, but also the Day Warden of Acavian. Day Warden? Okay. Because of that, I can't leave my post during the day, so I usually handle official duties or summon people through my aides. If it's personal, I move at night. So you're saying that as a day warden, you have more freedom at night? That's right. The night warden is someone else, and I'm a being who doesn't harmonize well with the night, so the night doesn't welcome me. That's why I can personally visit you at night, unlike during the day. Honestly, I couldn't fully understand everything Uriah was saying. Yeah, I don't quite fully get it. Especially the part about not harmonizing with the night and the night not welcoming him. It was difficult to even guess what he meant. Does that explanation suffice? At least I clearly understood that Uriah had more freedom at night, so I quietly nodded. I figured there was no point in asking further, as I wouldn't understand the answers anyway. Excuse me, Lord Uriah. Oddly enough, it wasn't me who seemed the most confused by the new information, but Laurel, who had been quietly listening next to me. May I ask about what you just discussed with Inez? Did you really visit Inez last night? Yes, that's correct. Laurel's complexion paled at Uria's straightforward answer. However, being the professional that she was, Laurel quickly composed herself and carefully addressed the situation from last night. If you moved personally, it must have been a significant issue, and it seems like it involved Inez. Where are you getting at, Laurel? But if there was a problem and the Divine Ministry's protective magic didn't activate, that's a very serious matter. Could you let me know what happened to Inez, Lord Uria? Laurel. If it's difficult to share with me, perhaps we should call the head of the Reaper Corps. If your protective magic failed to detect an issue in advance, it suggests some instability in the magic. Though it's uncomfortable, the head of the Reaper Corps is best suited to... Laurel. Uria's sharp interruption along with his cold expression was enough to make even my heart race in fear. I know how much you care for me and the Divine Ministry, Laurel. But don't overstep your bounds. No matter what happens, the Divine Ministry of Akavion is entirely under my domain. It wouldn't do for anyone uninvited and unauthorized to trespass into my domain, would it? I sincerely apologize, Lord Uria. It's just that this is such an unprecedented event, I acted without thinking. That's alright, there's no need to act before your mind is settled. After Laurel realized her mistake and apologized for overstepping, Uria smiled kindly and forgave her. Man, Uriel can be kind of scary. He's got that quiet anger to him, which is can be quite terrifying. Sorry, Inez, you had to witness something unpleasant. No, it's fine. In any case, I called you here to check if you're feeling alright after last night. You seem to be in good health, so you can proceed with your task now, Inez. I will assist Inez with the training process. Thank you, Laurel. Alright, Inez, follow Laurel and begin your work. I've already created a position for you as an assistant who doesn't need to use magic, so I trust you'll handle it well. Wait, the position was created in less than a day? Oh, but I do need to warn you about something. You're free to go between the Divine Ministry and the Holy Knights, Inez. But under no circumstances should you enter the Reaper Corps, which is overseen by Hai's Karo for the time being. Laurel, if any task related to the Reaper Corps comes to Inez, please handle them yourself. Understood. Alright, that's all from me. You may go now. Come with me, Inez. Although Uria's last words stirred many questions in my mind, I didn't have the chance to ask as Laurel led me out of Uria's office. Like, what's the deal with Hai's being involved here? I mean, he's been kind of rude, but aside from that, it seems like the other two guys work together and Hai just does his own thing. Excuse me, Laurel. Do you have a question, Inez? Well, it seems like the Divine Ministry handles things very quickly. I only applied for entry yesterday, but I've already become Lord Uria's assistant. How is that possible? That's because Lord Uria moved personally. But no matter how quick it may be, isn't the Divine Ministry one of the organizations of the gods? Is it really possible to act as swiftly without divine permission? So that was what you were curious about. Well, as you know, the gods of Akavion left behind their traces and disappeared. Of course, the fact that Akavion still exists means that the gods are still around in some form, but right now, it's the three organizations they left behind that lead this world. In other words, the head of the three organizations are essentially the proxies of the gods. Proxies of gods? Does that mean the three heads are familiar with the gods as well? Well, I don't know about that. From what I've seen of Lord Uria, he's never mentioned having any direct contact with the gods. Oh. Does that clear up your question? Yes, it helped a lot, thank you. I nodded, hiding my disappointment. Don't worry, girl. I'm sure we'll find an answer eventually. Alright, Inez. Now I'll show you how to review and process documents as Lord Uria's assistant. It might be difficult at first, but with steady effort, you'll pick it up quickly. After that, I spent the entire day learning the ways of the divine ministry from Laurel. Just like nothing like learning how to be an office worker. I feel that, you know. Just like the underworld has its bureaucracy, so do the heavens and proxies for gods. Luckily, I had kept up my studies while at the orphanage, so I was able to pick up the work relatively easily. Laurel seemed quite surprised at how quickly I adapted, especially when she saw how extensive my knowledge of magic was. Inez, have you studied the academic side of magic extensively? Lord Uria mentioned that due to certain reasons, you're currently unable to use magic. But even so, your knowledge is truly remarkable. You know as much as a professor from Primary Academy. It's not easy to gain such extensive understanding on your own. Well, I've been interested in magic since I was young, so I suppose that's why. Come to think of it, the recommendation letter from the professor at Primary Academy did mention that you used to handle magic very skillfully as a child. Laurel was so excited that she continued talking without giving me a chance to respond. Oh, and don't worry, only Lord Uria and I know that you can't use magic. The admission officer didn't even bother to properly look at your application or recommendation letter. Should I be grateful or upset about that? Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to ask. Since you received a recommendation from one of the foremost authorities in magic, are you also an alumnus of Primary Academy like me? I don't know. How do we break it to her that they expelled us because we tried to set a kid on fire? I've been half listening to Laurel's praises, but the next moment I froze completely. As I looked straight at her, I realized something important. Laurel wasn't just making small talk, she was gauging me. Her seemingly friendly smile was hiding something, and I had a distinct feeling that she already suspected who I was. If Laurel is from Primary Academy, then she's likely heard about the incident between me and Schleifen. Lying won't work here. I don't want to go through the same situation as I did with Lord Uria when my lie was exposed. Letting out a heavy sigh inwardly, I resolved to speak the truth. Yes, I did attend Primary Academy for a while. For a while, does that mean there's more to the story? I was enrolled, but I didn't graduate. I see. Under that sharp gaze, Laurel's smile became even more unsettling. Did you leave by choice, or was there some unfortunate incident? And at that moment I was certain. Laurel knew exactly who I was and had no intention of hiding it. Yes, there was a very unfortunate incident. I was expelled. Expelled, huh? If we're talking about a student around your age being expelled, there's only one student that comes to mind. Ooh. A girl who had a falling out with Schleifen Schlednos and ended up starting a fire at the academy. Oh, she knows. She knows. So you were that girl, Nez. No wonder your face seemed familiar when I first saw you. I suppose that means your relationship with Schleifen Schlednos isn't exactly amicable. That could be dangerous. What do you mean by dangerous? Schleifen Schlednos is currently active in the Reaper Corps. Wait. It can't be highs, can it? They gotta do different. Wait. Okay. Highs is in the Reaper Corps. And he also got scars on his arm, but we don't know why. Are they seriously gonna do the whole this guy, Schleifen, this bully kid is actually Heinz? Hmm. Because he does have a scar. It's fortunate that Lord Uria has forbidden you from working on any task related to the Reaper Courts, but still, be careful in this. Schleifen Schlenos is just as temperamental, no, eccentric, as the head of the Reaper Courts himself. Okay, maybe so he's a different guy, right? So is he the head or is he just some other guy similar to it? Schleifen. Schleifen Schlenos. Hearing about Schleifen just before the end of the day was fortunate. After Laurel told me about him, I was completely overwhelmed with confusion. I knew Schleifen was talented and thought he might be able to join the divine organizations, but I never imagined he had actually joined one. It looks like I really must avoid the Reaper Corps, just as Lord Uria warned. And the head of the Reaper Corps must be that man in the red shirt, the one who was most hostile towards me the last time we met. Before heading back to the dormitory, I sat on the bench overlooking the Divine Mystery, watching as it slowly became engulfed in the sunset. Yeah, now I'm curious. I'm like, okay, is Schleifen and Heis the same guy, or are they actually different? But will that guy actually show up in Heis' route? I feel like that's gonna be an important point. I need some time alone to organize my thoughts and strengthen my resolve. Oh my god! Jump scare! What is this guy doing here? Speak of the devil! There you are, been hiding here? Oh my god. But my peaceful break was shattered in an instant. A familiar yet detestable voice called out to me from right behind. You vanished without a trace like a rat, and I thought you were hiding somewhere. Turns out you were at the Divine Ministry. Did you join the Divine Ministry or something? The man in the bright red shirt, with his title as the head of the Reaper Corps, exuded an intimidating presence. But for some reason, I didn't want to back down in front of him. Yes, I've officially joined the Divine Ministry with Lord Uria's permission. Oh, and you're already calling him by name, huh? Lord Uria told me to address him that way. Is there a problem? Such nerve for such a small person. But no matter how awful his personality was, he was still the head of one of the divine organizations. His piercing gaze wasn't just uncomfortable, it was suffocating, sending an overwhelming sense of dread through my chest. As we glared at each other like we were ready to kill, the sky darkened, revealing the deep blue of the night. Interesting. And that's when... Ugh! Why can't I breathe? Oh? Who in the world does this guy think he is? Even though it was obvious I was struggling, clutching my throat and gasping for air, the head of the Reaper Corps just watched with a smug smile. Did that guy cast some kind of spell on me? Otherwise, there's no way he would just stand there grinning while choking like this. But I must warn you about one thing. You can move freely between the Divine Ministry and the Holy Knights, Inez, but under no circumstances should you enter the Reaper Courts, which is overseen by Heis Karo for the time being. Yeah, but I didn't enter his territory. He came here. What am I supposed to do? So that man is Heis Karo, the head of the Reaper Corps. Oh? Recalling Uria's warning, I immediately fled the scene. Why are you running into the city and not into the Divine Ministry? I couldn't hear any footsteps behind me, so it seemed like the head of the Reaper Corps wasn't following. But no matter how far I ran, the suffocating feeling as if I was on the verge of death wouldn't go away. Ugh. My vision slowly started to blur, but even so, I kept running, driven by a desperate need to escape. What? Unable to see clearly, I accidentally bumped into someone. And when I looked up in shock, what I saw was a cold, stern face, just like the one from the night before. It was Uriya. Inez, the sun has set. Why are you trying to leave the Divine Ministry? It's just... Did you encounter someone? Who did you run into? The head of the Reaper Corps. Meeting the head of the Reaper Corps meant that you were outside the protective barrier of the Divine Ministry, Inez. Lord Uriya! Ask for help or ask Uriya to let me run away. Girl, we are dying. I think we can ask for help in this case, right? If we had a choice between Heiz right now or Uriya, I think, you know, we should probably ask for help. Please help me. I can't breathe. Ugh. As soon as I begged for help, Uriya pulled me into his arms. Leaning on him to barely keep my balance, I slowly took in the magic he was channeling into me. This spell should ease your pain enough until I can fix the problem. You're in a lot of pain, but you did well to stay composed and ask for my help, Inez. With Uriya gently helping me breathe, I slowly returned to normal. Inez, you must remember what I'm about to tell you. Inez, what is he about to tell us? He just left us on the cliffhanger right there. What is it, Uriya? What was it you about to tell me? What am I supposed to know? Now I shall never find out. What cliffhanger? I don't understand what happened. Is it Heiz's fault? Is it someone else's fault? Maybe it's Uriya's fault? Maybe he's gaslighting us this whole time? So many questions. So many questions in that route. I do not know where that was going. But it's kind of interesting. Uriya is interesting. I feel like he has been a good person, but there's still something about him that seems constantly suspicious. You know, wonder what his thing is. I think Death School only had one chapter. I think the yeah, in this demo, I think we can play 2 chapters of Uriya, 1 chapter of Heiz. I forget we played 1 or 2 chapters of Ismay. I don't recall, because I know like the demo does cover a fair bit. But I guess we'll know what Heiz is going to be happening in the Heiz route here. So let's go to Ismay. Blue hair boy. I love how like blue haired knights are a thing now. I was like, hey, like Shattered Souls, we had a blue haired knight in that one as well. Exception to the rule. Well, let's see if the knights will treat us as well as the Divine Ministry or worse. The Holy Knights, being the most powerful force among the 3 organizations of the gods, made me think that their strength might be able to dispel the unknown curse that has been cast on me. Of course, first I'll need to find someone with enough power to remove the curse. Yeah, Deuce is like a knight, right? In the Glorious Masquerade. Blue-haired knights. The problem is, no matter which sorcerer I've sought, which hospital I visited, or what methods I've tried, there's been no one able to break the curse. And when I think about who might actually be able to do it, the only person that comes to mind is the leader of the Holy Knights. But even if I join the Holy Knights, I'll probably be at the very bottom. Can I really meet with the leader to talk about this curse? To even mention the curse, I need to build a relationship with the leader, but who knows how long that could take? Or it could be instantaneous, Inez. And what if the curse erupts again before that happens? I really didn't want to imagine what would happen next. But paradoxically, Paradoxically, that's why I was fully aware of what it meant to voluntarily join the Holy Knights. Would the Holy Knights who guard the realm of the gods really turn a blind eye if they discover a cause that disrupts the divine order? That will never happen. If things go wrong before I can even figure out how to dispel the curse, they might kill me under the pretense of suppressing the worst curse. In other words, stepping into the territory of the Holy Knights under the watchful eye of their leader, who is highly sensitive to this curse, was literally a gamble. It was a matter of life or death. So it would be a lie to say I wasn't afraid as I headed to the Holy Knights. However, I kept pulling myself together, stopping myself from turning around again and again. Think of the people who suffered because of my curse. Think of how much I suffered because of it. My once bright personality, the hobbies I enjoyed, the happy days at the academy, and my beloved parents who were taken from me because of this horrible curse. And it wasn't just me who suffered. There have been many victims. Even the fire at the inn recently was a stark reminder of the danger I pose. Right, there's no turning back now. With determination solidified, I grasped the professor's letter of recommendation and took a step forward. Fortunately, there were no casualties this time. No injuries, no deaths, they said. Oh yes, and there's the inn that was burned down. Yep. We documented it. We'll pay it back. Oh wow. Look at this fancy building. This looks like one of those palaces in like France or Austria. With a step heavy with skillful sorrow, I finally stood in front of the bright building of the Holy Knights at midday. The recruitment period for divine organizations was currently open, so yay, I can join. Still, I steeled myself and resolutely stepped inside the Holy Knights. Ugh. But then it happened. As soon as I stepped onto the path between the lawns of the Holy Knights, a sudden intense shock hit me, making my entire body tremble and my insides twist. Breathing, let alone standing on my own 2 feet, became impossible. I had to hunch over, trying to calm my startled body and mind. I didn't run into anything, though. Is there some sort of invisible barrier? But other people seem to come and go without issue, so why do I feel such a painful jolt? Ugh! As I crouched and tried to catch my breath, a sharp searing pain began to spread from the curse mark on the back of my right hand. Why is this happening? Even as I racked my brain in pain, I couldn't understand what was happening. There had been a shock when I passed through the barrier, but it was brief. The barrier hadn't completely blocked me. I had already crossed into the territory of the Holy Knights. And though the resistance of the barrier had caused a shock, it had quickly faded away. Yet strangely, only the curse mark on my right hand was burning so fiercely it felt like it would burst. I mean, clearly it sounds like a magic barrier meant to repel curses. This doesn't feel like the curse exploding, but I can't figure out what it is. After a long while, the searing pain in my right hand finally started to subside. Are you alright? Huh? Whoa. Just as I was touching the glove covering my right hand, still puzzled by the inexplicable pain, a man with purple hair approached me with concern. Hello, purple-haired man. And blue-haired knight, too. Are we Vocaloids now? Anyway, that's all for the additional schedule report, Head. Huh? Head? What are you looking at? You didn't miss my report, did you? Should I explain again? I heard all of your report, Leo. Thanks for organizing it neatly, as always. My match has shown up. Yeah, purple hair boy. We even have the same type of bangs. He's got purple hair and purple eyes, and so do I. But you don't look well, Head. Let's see, who is the person our head is looking at? Ah, it must be that woman with the brown hair. That's who you're watching, right, head? Wait, why does that magic feel familiar? Ah, that's definitely magic of Laurel, the direct assistant to the head of the Holy Order. Am I right, head? Yes. As expected, my intuition wasn't wrong. What? Really? So, does that mean this woman is the one connected to the worst curse you're investigating? The one you encountered at the house following the traces of the curse? I heard the head of the Holy Order instructed the professor from the Primaria Academy to write a recommendation letter for her to join the divine organizations, and that the head of the Reaper Corps pressured them. Oh. Well, we're getting more context now. So the Holy Order forced the professor to write a letter, and then the Reaper Corps applied even more pressure. But even so, I never imagined she would actually come. Even with a recommendation letter from a high-ranking professor, joining the divine organizations is entirely her choice. Leo still, I don't know, I wonder if Leo is trustworthy. And of all places, the Holy Knights! Leo, stop there and guide that woman. Regardless of anything, since a person of interest has entered the territory of the Holy Knights voluntarily, we can't let her slip away. Understood, head. I'll head over immediately. But where should I assign her? Should I place her somewhere close to you, head? No matter how suspicious the person, the rules of the Holy Knights remain unchanged. According to the rules, assign her where you deem appropriate, Leo. Understood. You truly are a head who values rules the most. Rules? Make sure to act before she leaves the Holy Knight's territory, Leo. Yes, sir. When a woman entered, the barrier of the Holy Knights reacted with considerable resistance. That means she possesses a great deal of impurity, and even with the lowered standards due to Hai's increasingly questionable answers, the barrier still reacted. That confirms how impure her existence is. But despite that, the barrier didn't block her entry, whether because it couldn't or chose not to. She has been allowed into the territory of the Holy Knights. Not only that, the shock I felt on my right hand means she is a person of significant danger. And yet she entered the Holy Knight's territory without further resistance. What could this mean? He's so suspicious of us. Are you feeling unwell by any chance? I saw you crouching earlier, so I came over to check on you. The man with purple hair, dressed in the uniform of the Holy Knights, seemed to have approached me out of concern when he saw me crouching. I probably just curled up in a fetal position, no biggie. Although the after effects of the shock still lingered, I could walk, and I didn't want to appear unwell in front of a member of the Holy Knights. I forced a big smile and stood up straight. No, I'm fine. I think I was just a bit nervous about joining the Holy Knights, and my stomach felt a bit unsettled. Oh, I see! So you're here to apply to join the Holy Knights. Excuse me? I see? What does he mean by that? Glad to have you. We've been waiting for you. No, that's not what I meant. Anyway, I'll guide you to the application office. Please follow me. There's a map of the building inside, but since you seem quite nervous, I think it'd be best if I escorted you myself. I prefer not to take no for an answer. Wow, this guy's pushy. I guess he's been ordered to do this, but he's like not doing this in the most subtle way. Alright, please lead the way. He didn't seem hostile, but there's something, an indescribable cheerfulness about him. Regardless, I had no reason to refuse his offer, so I followed him to the application office. It's nice to know everyone is keeping watch on us, even Uria. What? Where are we? We're in some... This is a very old medieval castle room here. If I may I take a look at Inez's papers as well? Ah, it was Sir Geoffrey, of course. From the moment I entered the application office, I witnessed quite a surprising scene. Geoffrey, or rather the man who had introduced himself as Leo Geoffrey on the way, was immediately greeted with a salute by the head of admissions for the Holy Knights. I feel like Leo feels also like Otome, but like the blue-haired guy has like more details to him. He seems cheerful so far. He seems good for now. Leo returned the greeting politely and promptly handed over my application and the professor's recommendation letter to the admissions officer. While the first step of joining the Holy Knights proceeded, I stood quietly, tense. Oh. He really is an interesting person. Out of the blue, Leo asked to review my papers along with the admissions officer and began meticulously going through my documents. Wow, finally, someone actually read our documents. Everyone else has either burned it or just like kind of trashed it. It seemed clear from the deference shown to him that Leo held a rather high position. Meeting someone of such high rank by chance and walking with them to the admissions office was surprising enough, but... Oh. His reactions are quite something. As he read through my documents, Leo's expressions changed dramatically, a sight more curious than anything else. After what felt like quite some time of his exaggerated response, Sir Geoffrey, do you have an opinion of Inez's application? I wholeheartedly support it. Personally, I'm glad to take over the purple-haired demon gal or a hyper right-hand dog. Aw, thanks guys. Leo seems like a nice guy so far though. Hopefully he doesn't stab us later or anything. Especially since Inez is applying not as a regular knight, but as a trainee knight. And trainees can be anyone, so... Ahem, Sir Geoffrey, please be careful with your words. You wouldn't want to undermine the prestige of the Holy Knights. In any case, Inez, we have confirmed your passion for the Holy Knights and your commendable recommendation letter. From this moment, you are appointed as a trainee knight of the Holy Knights. Wow, that was easy. That went a lot more smoothly than the other two organizations. Oh, the process to join the Holy Knights is much simpler than I expected. Or did we cut corners specifically? I felt like we cut some corners here. We didn't even do an exam or anything. I didn't anticipate everything moving so quickly and smoothly and quickly, and I was momentarily at a loss for words. Excuse me. Just as I was about to ask if it was truly possible to be appointed without a test of my swordsmanship skills. Were you concerned that the application process was too simple, Inez? If so, don't worry. Everyone feels the same way when they first join the Holy Knights. And like I said, trainee knights are selected first and foremost. Ahem. What I meant to say. The Holy Knights aren't just looking for those skilled with the sword, we also train individuals who can protect the divine realms. As a trainee, you'll start with the basics, so don't feel too pressured. That's a relief. Even so, Inez, this is still the Holy Knights. Trainees, regular knights, and senior knights all have to take regular exams. And remember, if you fail the exam even once, you won't be able to apply to the Holy Knights again, so give your best effort in your training. But don't stress too much about the exams. I was once a trainee knight myself, and as long as you train hard, you won't fail. Is that right, Leo? Are you sure? Ahem. What I meant to say is... Anyway, follow me, Inez. I'll show you to the trainee knight's quarters and training grounds. My first impression of the Holy Knights was that they were efficient and strict. But thanks to the extremely cheerful Leo and the strange series of events, it all felt rather surreal. As I was following Leo, now appointed as a trainee knight, I cautiously voiced a question that came to mind. By any chance, are you a regular Holy Knight, Sir Geoffrey? Oh, a regular Holy Knight? Those days are long behind me. I'm even higher than that. What? The head squire? What brings you here, sir? The head squire? As soon as we arrived at the trainee knight's training grounds, the trainees who recognized Leo immediately panicked and rushed to salute him. I couldn't hide my own surprise and stared at Leo, who sheepishly smiled before properly introducing himself. Sorry for the late introduction, Inez. I am the head of the Holy Knight Squire, Leo Geoffrey. Normally, a squire refers to the attendant of a knight or a regular knight, but the head squire holds a rank entirely different from ordinary knights. So, when you said higher than a regular knight earlier, was that because you're the head squire? Okay. Bingo! That's exactly right. No wonder the admissions officer is so cautious about Sir Geoffrey. That explains everything. Anyway, since we have a new trainee... After spreading the news of my arrival as a new trainee knight, Leo left with few parting words of encouragement fit in well. Before I knew it, I had become a trainee knight of the Holy Knights and was about to begin my life in the Order. To be honest, you have a lot of catching up to do, Inez. The two senior trainee knights observing my training looked quite serious. They needed to assess my skills to plan how my training would proceed, so I drew my sword to show my current abilities. But having not held a sword in nearly 10 years, even the weight was overwhelming, and my body, weakened over time, lacked any fluidity. In short, it was disastrous. At least your form when holding the sword is correct, Inez. But form alone won't cover the fact that you lack both strength and technique. On top of that, you seem to have very little confidence. Oh. No matter how much you overthink things, at least when you're using a sword, you can't be timid. You know that well enough, having applied to the Holy Knights. For now, instead of diving into sword training, I think it would be best for you to start with basic exercises and observe the training of the other knights. Yes, I'll do that. My arm, which had been holding the sword, was beginning to ache as well, so I had no choice but to accept their suggestion. I couldn't afford to strain myself or risk an outburst of the curse. Since joining the Holy Knights, my right hand, especially the mark on my right hand, had been subtly but steadily burning. Oh. That does not sound good. Maybe we should get that checked, you know. That does not sound like it's good for us. I mean, the trainee knights at least have been nice to us, you know. They've been treating us well. And like Leo has been nice to us too. It wasn't a searing pain, but it was enough to gnaw away at my nerves, and as the days passed, I could feel a significant mental fatigue building. But I have to endure. I can't afford to collapse over something as minor as this. Despite that, I gave everything I had to hold on, hiding my weakness and pushing through each day of training. But effort alone had its limits, and eventually everything came crashing down. The trouble began during a training session, when the accumulated fatigue finally hit me with a wave of dizziness, as I was running with the other trainee knights. Uh-oh. We're fading. What the? Are you alright, Inez? During training, I suddenly staggered, leaning against a wall, and the other trainee knights around me expressed significant concern. Seeing that I didn't look well, a few suggested I head to the infirmary, but I knew it wasn't something that could be solved so easily, so I tried to endure the pain somehow. I'll just rest for a bit and return. You should go ahead and finish your training. Don't worry about me. Well, if that's what you want, Inez, we'll go back to our training then. But still, what can we do? She says she's not feeling well. It's alright, you can go. Well, I'm sorry, Inez. It's fine, don't waste time worrying about me. The hesitant training knights eventually agreed after one spoke up, nodding and heading back to the training grounds without me. At least they actually tried to help her, you know. They were actually concerned for her well-being. Honestly, I was thankful they left, since having them around while I was in such a state would have only made things more uncomfortable. Ugh. Left alone behind the Holy Knight's training grounds, I finally collapsed, succumbing to the pain. Ooh. Just gonna collapse around the area. Why is this happening? Not even the most challenging times at Infirmary Academy, nor just before losing my parents, have I ever felt this much pain. Oh, this is like when back at the Divine Ministry when we were having like a fever, though at least we were sleeping then. I don't have time to waste like this. After crouching in pain for a long time, it occurred to me if I stayed too long, someone might come looking for me. Not wanting anyone to notice my condition, I forced myself to stand, leaning against the wall for support, and started taking slow, painful steps forward. Why is my vision so blurry? But my mind and body were in such a terrible state that with each step I took, my already blurry vision began to waver dangerously. In the end, maintaining your physical condition is part of a knight's duty. Hearing a familiar voice as I collapsed into someone's arms, I lost consciousness completely. Oh no. Imagine working on a job and passing out in front of your boss. Where am I? I felt a cool sensation of a cold towel placed on my forehead to lower my fever as I slowly regained consciousness and rolled my eyes to survey my surroundings. But the makeshift curtain surrounding me made it difficult to figure out where I was. Still, after realizing I was lying on a bed commonly used in hospitals or infirmaries, I eventually understood that I had been brought to the Holy Knight's infirmary. Will I be alright from here on out? Not long after joining as a trainee knight, I fainted and had to be taken to the infirmary. Oh no. After all the determination I gathered to join the Holy Knights, I'm already causing problems. What would people think of a trainee like me? It's like, oh no, we passed out so soon, now we'll never get promoted. Rather than meeting the head of the Holy Knights to remove my curse, it felt like I was already on the verge of failing the upcoming test. If I fail the test, I won't be able to apply to the Holy Knights ever again, they said. I came here to break free from the curse, but if I'm kicked out like this, what should I do? Just as I was gathering my strength to hold back my tears, refusing to let them fall, that's when I heard. It seems you just woken up. Let me check on you. It's him. The voice I heard just before losing consciousness must have belonged to this person beyond the curtain. Whatever happens from here, I should at least thank him for moving me to the infirmary, so I tried to straighten up in the bed and prepare myself. Your fever was quite high. How are you feeling now? But the moment the person pulled back the curtain and entered, I couldn't help but silently gasp. With blue hair and striking silver eyes, this man was definitely the head of the Holy Knights, the one I met at the ruins of my old home. Though I intended to express my gratitude, I quickly assumed a more defensive posture. Had it been someone else, I wouldn't have reacted so cautiously. But the head of the Holy Knights, the one investigating the curse connected to me, was a completely different matter. Especially considering the red-shirted head had nearly dragged me off before, there was no telling what the head of the Holy Knights might have done while I was unconscious. Even though I joined the Holy Knights to solve this curse, now was definitely not the time. Though this is our first formal meeting, it seems you already know who I am. Well, we've already met before, right? Tensing up while recovering from a fever is not good for your health. I never expected to meet the head of the Holy Knights like this. However, your reaction suggests there's something more than just meeting me as the head of the Holy Knights. It seems you are worried about something. What could it be that makes you so tense, even while suffering from a fever? This is our first formal meeting, but we've crossed paths before. And no matter how you put it, I'm sure you recall our first meeting with the three heads wasn't exactly ordinary. Ah. I couldn't be completely honest, so I gave a vague answer, but that seemed enough for the head of the Holy Knights to understand. If this is about the time I asked you about the curse from 9 years ago, then there's no need to worry about it now. While you were unconscious, I never acted on my own to investigate the traces of the curse we were searching for. The priority was your health, so I simply removed you to the infirmary. Aside from placing a cold towel on your head to lower your fever, I haven't touched you, so there's no need to be so tense. Besides, it's clear from your complexion that your condition is far from stable. That being said, your fever hasn't gone down, so I believe I need to use magic to help you recover. However, according to Kavyun's law, unless it's a special case, we must obtain consent before casting magic on someone. Oh, okay. I guess that's like the rules of the knights? Do we have to do that? So, let me ask you, do you consent to me using healing magic on you? At least he asked for permission. Like, yes, please help the fever? Even with my foggy mind, I couldn't help but think that the head of the Holy Knights, much like his squire Leo, was a strange and peculiar person. Few people adhered to a Kavyun's law so strictly, and felt incredibly surreal that someone of his rank was asking for my consent in this situation. Yeah, you know, so far, him and Uriah have been pretty nice to us. Like, Heisel's just a jerk, but the other two guys have at least been, like, polite and respectful. Of course, for someone like me who must keep the curse hidden, it was a relief. Ask him to use the necessary magic, nothing more. Or trust Izme's adherence to strict rules and accept his help. I think we should accept his help, you know. Clearly he follows the rules pretty well. Yes, I consent. And since you follow Akavyun's law so strictly, I trust the help you offer, Head. I believe you wouldn't go back on your word. I'm glad you made the right decision. But once again, let me be clear, I have no intention of breaking Akavyun's laws. That applies to both your case and the curse we're investigating. Unless there are extraordinary circumstances, I will handle everything within the bounds of Akavyun's laws. I couldn't help but feel something strange. Since losing my parents, I hadn't been able to trust anyone. But for some reason, the head of the Holy Knights exuded an inexplicable sense of security. Even though this was only our second encounter, his firm and upright demeanor inspired a surprising amount of trust. Good, there's no need to be tense any longer. Seeing that some color was returning to my pale face, the head of the Holy Knights' voice softened considerably. However, suddenly a searing heat overtook my entire body and mind. Oh, damn. Before I could fully comprehend what was happening, I heard the sound of the head of the Holy Knights drawing his sword, sensing something strange. Oh, and then, in the last faint memories I had left, I felt the vivid sensation of a sword piercing my heart. Did anyone die like this? An overwhelming cold, unlike anything I had felt before, seemed to freeze my heart. Ah! It wasn't that the curse was being quelled, it felt like I was being overpowered by an immense force. I will not allow impure forces to destroy Kavyun. And with the commanding words of Izme, a power beyond comprehension, I once again sank into the infinite darkness of unconsciousness. Ouch. What's he gonna do? He's just gonna stab. Okay, so it looks like everyone's got 2 chapters except Pies, I guess. Guess he'll die. It's getting stabbed. Wow. This demo has actually covered a lot more than I expected. So let's go do chapter 2. We're almost there. The pinnacle of discord. So we can find out why he just stabbed us. When I regained consciousness, my body wouldn't move at all. It felt as if I was under a heavy weight, like being pressed down by an enormous rock. My mind was awake, but no matter how hard I tried, my limbs wouldn't budge. In the midst of this painful sensation, I tried to recall how I ended up in this condition. I remembered that the head of the Holy Knights had received my consent to use healing magic and had begun the spell. I could recall the feeling of recovery magic flowing into my body, but beyond that point, I couldn't remember anything. I could only guess that I'd been gripping something desperately based on how my hands were still trembling. When I briefly regained consciousness, there was a sword in my heart. Oh, okay. That's a rude thing to wake up to. At that point, the head seemed to have used some other kind of magic instead of healing. As the head of the Holy Knights used an unknown magic, it seemed the curse, which was spreading from my mind and body, was instantly suppressed. Even now, my body continued to tremble as if it were being overwhelmed by an invisible force. At that moment, I was fortunate to wake up. My physical and mental state weren't great. If I had lost consciousness again, I might have been stuck in an infirmary for much longer. My heart, it was definitely pierced by a sword. Instinctively, I reached for my chest as soon as I woke up. I had been through a lot, but I never experienced having a sword lodged in my heart, and seeing it happen right before my eyes was a shock. It hurts a little, but there's no blood or scar. But it felt way too real to be a dream. Ah! Suddenly, my hand brushed against something familiar near my chest. It was none other than my leather notebook, the one I've been using to document the effects of my curse. So the sword piercing my chest was real after all. The notebook had a clear tear right through the middle, exactly where the sword had gone through. What in the world? This was more surreal than any dream. In a daze, I opened the ruined notebook. The first page, the one containing my very first note, was completely ruined. Oh no, our notes though. The 3rd floor inn has burned down completely. That single sentence brought me fully back to my senses. Simultaneously, a cold fear ran down my spine. If the head of Holy Knights hadn't intervened in time, he hadn't taken swift action, then If the fire from my curse had reached not just the 3rd floor inn, but the Holy Knights as well, the consequences would have been disastrous. Can you imagine just burning down the Holy Knights' entire place? Yeah, they'd probably kill her for that. My already trembling hands began to shake even harder. Good day, Inez. Good morning. No, I mean good afternoon. I'm not sure if you can hear me properly. Hello, Sir Jeffrey. Are you alright? Yes, for now. I can't tell you how relieved I am to hear you speaking clearly and even remembering my name. But what in the world happened? You didn't overdo it during training, did you? When I heard you collapsed during training and were brought to the infirmary, I was so shocked. How are you feeling? I heard your fever finally broke after some time, but you were still unconscious, so I was worried sick. Who was it? Who pushed you too hard during training? It wasn't because of the training. I think I just collapsed because I've been a bit worn out lately. The Holy Knights is a new environment for me, and as a trainee knight I need to build up my basic stamina, so I think my body just reacted to the change. If that's what you say, then alright, I understand. I'm just relieved the treatment worked. We tried everything. Nothing was lowering your fever, not even magic. But after many attempts, we finally found a medicine that suited you. But was there anything strange that happened while I was unconscious in the infirmary? Huh? Strange? What do you mean by strange? Well, I couldn't exactly bring up the fire, so after thinking it over, I decided to mention the head of the Holy Knights instead. For example, did the head visit the infirmary while I was unconscious, or something like that? You remember me getting stabbed? Do you remember when your boss came over and then, like, pierced his sword through my heart? Something like that, you know? No, absolutely not. Your fever only broke because we found the right medicine. The head didn't visit and miraculously improve your condition, making the infirmary staff breathe a sigh of relief. None of that happened. Oh, Leo. You seem like a very, very poor at hiding secrets. Sir Geoffrey wears his emotions all over his face. Absolutely not. I already know the head came by, Sir Geoffrey. What? How did you... No, that's not it. The head's been buried in work and hasn't left his office. I swear. It seems like Sir Geoffrey really doesn't want to admit the head's visit, but his reaction just confirms it even more. With all his emotions written on his face, it was impossible for Leo to hide the truth from me, no matter how much he tried to deny it. It was clear that he wanted to change the subject from the head of the Holy Knights to anything else. But I had to know the truth, so I decided to confront him directly. Even though I only met the head briefly, it seemed he used some kind of unique power. I'm not sure if I should say much, but you look at this notebook, you might understand. The moment I showed Leo the notebook with the massive tear in the middle, his expression faltered. As the head squire, I think you'll be able to sense it. Doesn't this notebook carry that energy from the head's power? That's... This notebook should be enough proof that the head visited me. At this point, I can't hide it from you any longer, Inez. Yes, the head did visit the infirmary to check on your condition. And during that time, he did use that unique power you mentioned. I don't remember everything clearly from that time, so could you tell me more about what happened? I'm sorry, but I don't know the full details either. This time, the head didn't share everything with me. Ah. Leo's downcast response left me feeling disappointed as well. Even if the head of the Holy Knights came to check on me due to the curse he was investigating, how did it lead to the situation where a sword was driven into my heart? What did it mean? Am I losing my voice? I've been drinking water throughout this playthrough. I was like, what happened to the background music though? I'm lost. If nothing else, I at least wanted to know what the head had been thinking, and how he viewed me after going through such an ordeal together. I just wanted some assurance that my life was safe. In the midst of this frustrating situation, a long silence fell, as none of us could find the words to break it. That's, kind of awkward. It's like, hey, yeah, how about that sword stabbing? After a long period of stillness, I finally managed to calm my nerves and cautiously spoke up. Could I ask you what kind of person the head of the Holy Knights is, Sir Geoffrey? You don't have to give me too many details, but I'd like to know if he's anything like the head of the Reaper Corps, the one in the red shirt. Of course, the head of the Holy Knights told me he'd never break the rules of Acavian or lightly, so I already feel like he's quite different. The head in the red shirt? Our head is nothing like the head of the Reaper Corps. Those two aren't even comparable. And just to be clear, our head isn't comparable to the head of the Divine Ministry either. Leo's vehement reaction caught me off guard, and I blinked in surprise as he passionately continued his speech. Our head is the strongest among the leader of the 3 divine organizations, but he never abuses his power. Not only that, as you mentioned, he upholds the laws of Akavian more strictly than anyone else. I had to agree with Leo's last statement, at least. It's all about them rules. Even the wizards and doctors I'd gone to in the past to try to resolve my curse often used magic on me without my consent. I had never expected the head of the Holy Knights to ask for my permission. But how they made the hazy memories of the head using such overwhelming power on me even more unsettling. Can I ask just one more thing, Sir Geoffrey? Of course, it was a question about our head. I'm happy to answer anything. Does the fact that someone as strict as your head would use magic on me without my consent mean that the situation was truly exceptional? Absolutely, that's also written in the laws of Akavian. It's clearly stated, except in special cases, one must always have the other person's consent before casting magic on them. The unique power the head used on you falls under that context as well. For the head of the Holy Knights to use such a power on a mere trainee like me, it must be because of my curse. It's strange though, the curse had been dormant for so long, so why now? Oh my goodness! You're finally awake, Inez! Gosh, when I heard you collapsed during basic training and were moved to the infirmary, I was so shocked! The 2 senior trainees who had been supervising my training came to visit me in the infirmary. I felt both embarrassed and grateful, and for the moment I pushed aside my anxiety to greet them. The 2 chatted with Leo as well, checking on my condition, but they quickly prepared to leave, likely because they had squeezed in this visit during a busy schedule. I expressed my thanks and regret as they, along with Leo, prepared to say their goodbyes. But Sir Geoffrey, is it true that the head had cancelled all his appointments for the past 3 days and is resting? What? Upon hearing the update of the head, I couldn't help but drop my smile and show my confusion. I heard the head hasn't had any particularly strenuous task lately. He couldn't be unwell, could he? It's nice that we actually had friends, you know, compared to the academy where everyone bullied us. This was a nice change of pace. The news is true, but it does worry me as well. Just now. But you know how strong our head is. I'm sure he'll be back on his feet in no time. The 2 trainees didn't notice, but I, standing closest to Leo, caught his brief glance in my direction before he quickly averted his gaze. Ooh, he's just taking time off because of me then. That small gesture was enough to make me certain that the head's recent break was somehow related to me. Eventually, the 2 senior trainees left the infirmary after wishing me a speedy recovery. How nice of them. They actually took their time to come check in. Leo too seemed ready to leave, having restored my damaged notebook and signaling that he would be heading out soon. Yeah, I wonder if Issei is he was taking a break because he wants time to look into our situation, or yeah, maybe he's just used up too much magic. Wait, Sir Geoffrey, before you go, could I ask one last favor? What is it, Inez? I'm really sorry to ask this, but if the head is resting because of something I caused, I feel like I should apologize to him personally. But I don't know if it's appropriate for me to visit his office unannounced, so could you let him know that I'd like to see him? You're surprisingly interested in the head, Inez, not just in a professional sense, but personally as well. There are very few people in the Holy Knights who show this much concern for him. It's not about interest or concern, it's that I need to ask the head directly about what happened. At the very least, I don't want anyone in the Holy Knights to suffer because of me. I spoke with firm conviction, countering Leo's hesitant reaction. Very well, I'll escort you to the head's office. After my earnest request, Leo finally agreed to help me. But remember, whether the head decides to see you or not is entirely up to him. I understand, and I'll keep that in mind. With a resolute nod, I slowly got up, preparing to head toward the head of the Holy Knights' office. Oh, nice office. Very charming. Honestly, I don't think Leo expected the head to meet me. I wasn't really expecting it either, but... Hey, Izme. Surprisingly, the decision to allow me an audience with the head of the Holy Knights was made easily, and both Leo and I were taken aback. Thus, I was granted an official meeting with the head of the Holy Knights. However, the silence that followed as he gazed at me intently without speaking felt unbearably heavy. Still, I understood that his silence was a way of signaling me to state my business, so I hurried to choose my words. Bring up the cancellation of his official schedule, or start by apologizing for causing him trouble. Maybe we should get to the point first. So, let's do this. Go with the second. I'm here to apologize for causing you trouble. Is that all you have to say? Excuse me? I'm asking if there's anything else you need to report to me. If there's something that the head of the Holy Knights should know, you must tell me. Understanding the meaning behind the head's word wasn't difficult. He's just saying, hey, just say your shit that you want to say. He was implicitly asking me to reveal what I knew about my curse. But knowing how strictly he adhered to the laws of Akavian, I couldn't guarantee what would happen if I told him everything about my curse just yet. At least not right now. So instead of being completely honest, I decided to give him a vague answer. The reason you face difficulty, I think you're already aware of it. I see. At least you understand that your presence is causing some complications. However, it seems you're not quite ready to fully discuss that matter, so let's move on to other things. You're aware that maintaining your physical condition is one of a knight's duties, aren't you? Then why did you collapse during training so soon after joining the Holy Knights? You must know that it's not a good sign for a trainee to show such a lapse in just 2 weeks of joining. Unless there's a valid reason, I can only see this as a failure to fulfill your knightly duties. Wow, harsh. So, let me ask, does this curse you mentioned manifest through you, and are you unable to control it? It would be a lie to say I wasn't taken aback by the head's blunt question. In fact, I started to wonder if he might be even scarier than the other two heads, who had only shown vague interest in my curse. But to address the issue, it's crucial to understand the root cause. Remember, my curse, the harm it causes, damage it inflicts, and the head wasn't even asking for full disclosure about my curse, just a specific detail. From the start, it seemed like he was more focused on eliminating the curse than worrying about minor issues. Yes, I can't control this terrible power. It's heavily influenced by my emotional state, but more often than not, it just explodes on its own. Oof, I don't know if that's a good thing to reveal to him, like, hey, we're like a ticking time bomb, and we kind of just explode without warning. It was the same when I harmed you, Head. It wasn't something I did intentionally, and I don't even clearly remember what happened. I swear, I don't want anyone else to suffer because of this curse. So you're saying that others have already suffered because of it? His next words left me unable to respond immediately. The mere mention of it stirred up a wave of guilt and longing for my parents, emotions that nearly overwhelmed me. If there's any more to report, do so now. Very, very straight to the business. I'm sorry, you're right, but I don't think I can tell you everything right now. I still don't fully understand your stance on my curse or what kind of person you are, Head. Even if you were to explain your position, I'm not ready to trust you enough to tell you everything. Oh, at least she's honest too. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna tell it like it is. Buddy, you're kind of suspicious. And, can't really trust you to be nice to us. I see. Very well. At the very least, you've answered what I've asked, and that's enough for me to consider this matter extenuating. However, we'll have to wait and see how your condition affects not only the Holy Knights, but your own future. I already knew this, but the sharpness of his straightforward words pierced deeper than I expected. But even so, the one thing I didn't want was to be expelled from the Holy Knights. I'll do everything in my power to ensure that I don't cause any more harm to the Holy Knights. I promise I won't. Never again. Absolutely never. Head, may I borrow a pen for a moment? While the head looked at me with a confused expression, I grabbed the pen from his desk and pulled out the torn notebook from my coat. Even though I could feel his pointed gaze questioning what I was doing, I calmly wrote a bold note in the notebook. After I finished, I showed him the second page of the notebook, where a clear sentence was written. What is this? Oh hey, a CG. This notebook is for recording the pain of those who have suffered because of me. That's why I borrowed your pen just now, to write down that I disrupted your schedule. So, what is the ultimate purpose of these records to you? To not forget, to remember the pain of those who have suffered because of me. It's also to remind myself not to cause this kind of harm again. Of course, I can't always control it, so I haven't been able to keep that promise very well. But that's the reason I keep this notebook. No matter what others might think, whether they believe I have some hidden motive, or see it as a mere formality, my sincerity is all here. So we gotta please trust us. We write everything down. The technique of driving a sword into someone's heart while reciting a spell is meant to subdue the opponent, but sometimes the opponent's energy can be fully transmitted. The energy I felt from this woman when I used my power was tainted, filled with impurity. Yet the fact that my spell worked on her without resistance means she also carries an energy similar to mine. Could it be that the barrier allowed her presence here, because it recognized her purity, even amidst the impurity? A purity strong enough to counterbalance the overwhelming impurity. But these two extremes cannot coexist in one another, nor can they harmonize. One will inevitably be driven out someday. In any case, from what you said, it seems your presence could bring misfortune to the Holy Knights, so I must continue the restrictions placed upon you. What restrictions are you referring to? You're aware that I drove a sword into your heart that day, correct? Yes, thank you for now finally acknowledging that. Yes, I know. At that time, I had to suppress the uncontrollable impure energy within you, and in doing so, I also had to suppress your magic. That means that while I'm restricting you, you will be unable to use any magic. If you have any complaints or you disagree with my actions, speak now. No, I have no complaints. I already lost the ability to use magic long ago. Haha, joke's on you. You can't do any. I now have a perfect excuse. I'll be like, oh, sorry guys, I can't use magic, you know. It's the head's fault. In other words, whether my magic was restricted or not, it wouldn't change anything in my life. In fact, I should be thanking you instead. As I mentioned before, I don't want to hurt anyone, including myself, anymore. So I'm grateful that you used your power to help suppress me. I see. Very well. Then we will leave this matter as it is. However, I will need your cooperation one more time. To fully assess your condition, we will need the head of the Reaper Corps, Heist, to conduct an examination on you. No, please, anything but that. I do not want him conducting examinations. Will that be acceptable? But the mention of the Reaper's corpse had made it impossible for me to stay calm. After a long pause, I finally managed to collect myself and raise my concern in as calm a voice as I could muster. But the head of the Reaper Corps doesn't seem to think well of me. In fact, it feels like he holds some hostility toward me. Ah, you're concerned for your safety, but you need not worry about that. Unless it's a special case, you won't meet Heis alone. I'll be right there beside you during your meeting with Heis, and if he tries anything reckless, I will immediately stop him. At least in that situation, there'll be no danger to you. At least in that situation? Does that mean there could be danger in other situations? You know, like running into him outside of the Holy Knights building? In any case, I'm doing everything I can find ways to minimize the damage your curse might cause. He seems the most helpful so far, yeah. Like, you know, Uriah has been nice to us. It looks like he does want to help us. Ismay seems to be really more concerned about the curse than our well-being, but he's still, you know, being nice to us and helping us out here. And then, yeah, Heis was just a jerk. Unless he proves himself halfway through the route that he actually is supportive of us. Right now, he's just a jerk. I'm sure you understand that cooperating with me is in your best interest. But I cannot skip the step of getting your consent, so I ask again, is this acceptable to you? Yes, I agree. There is no other choice. I mean, what else could we really do? There is nothing wrong in what the head of the Holy Knight said. In fact, I felt the same way. The feeling that I would do anything to minimize the harm I might cause. Understood. Thank you for your cooperation. As I said before, I don't make idle promises. I will fully support you and make sure Heis doesn't try anything reckless. Thank you! Nice of you to accompany us. You can rest assured that there's no need to worry about Heis' potential danger. Still, thanks to the head of the Holy Knight's firm declaration, I was able to calm my anxiety, even if just a bit, or a little. Okay. We're gonna do 2 chapters of Issei here, and then, you know, 2 chapters of Uriah, and then Heis had the 1 chapter, so I guess he's special. That was interesting. So far here. I mean, like, we were off to a very strong start with Heis there. The way he handled us was probably the most rough. But then, you know, Uriah seems like a pretty nice person. He's been helping us, but there is still something kind of suspicious about him. Him and Ismay are kind of colluding on something, you know. They haven't really explained like what exactly he's trying to figure out with the curse. But Ismay feels like a very stoic type, very by the books rule guy. Very kind of a stern personality, but he at least does, you know, respect us and actually asks us for consent before doing stuff. So I feel like he'd be the most helpful. Purple guys with fave. Leo is fun. I like having Leo there as a balance between all these guys, even though he's not a route. Leo is still a fun guy to see. And so far he doesn't seem to be an evil guy, so that's a plus. Laurel has her heart personally. Laurel's a cutie too. I mean, she seemed very interested in our background and understanding who we are. She went to the same academy as us, so now I'm like super curious on how that whole thing ties in. I'm like, does Laurel herself have any ties? But so far I didn't like the demo and what I saw. Like, we got quite a bit of content in terms of little samples from each route here. But like, interesting enough, so this game is it's a fantasy Otome game, and it's all developed by a solo developer. So you know what, this is a pretty good work I would say being like worked on by just one person. I've been enjoying the art. We got like, you know, some background music that's sourced. Yeah, so a demo you can experience chapter 2 or yeah, only chapter 1 of Highs. I'm intrigued. I kind of want to know exactly what the nature of this curse is. When the game fully comes out, which route you choosing? I'm pretty sure I would end up playing all of them because I feel like they all have something going on in each of their routes. Ultimately, I want to know what is, you know, the thing behind the MC's curse. Why is she cursed? Who cursed her? How are we going to remove the curse? How are these guys going to help with that? Where's their ties to everything? Like, what's their deal? So, picking the first route would be hardest, but I'd probably end up playing all three so I can get the full story. Because, yeah, first boy, that's hard. I would say... I was like, which route would give us the most information? Would be the thing. I think I'd probably do Issei, because it seems to be more of like the curse stuff. So then like Issei, and then like probably Uriel, and I'll save Highs for last. I'll probably do it in that order. The game fully comes out. But yeah, if you guys are interested, it's Eternal Glory is on Steam right now. I think they're planning on releasing this game in 2025. You can follow the developer, Nocturne. They are on Twitter. I'm not sure about the other socials, but they're on Twitter. And yeah, I also want to thank Nocturne as well for approaching me and inviting me to play their game. I've intrigued by the story so far, and I want to find out what happens down the line. Art is nice too. White or blue, but black just has a haunted Derma. Yeah, there's always one though. I've played Otome games before in the past where I'm like, this guy, there's like one or two guys which I'm like, I'm not really interested in their routes, but I'm just gonna play it because I want to finish the whole story. But then like I actually played the routes and really enjoyed it, so it's nice to be pleasantly surprised. Sometimes I go into a route not thinking I'd like it, but then I end up really enjoying it. So, we'll see. Maybe that'll be the case when Highs' route here. Because, it's just like when I played, Variable Barricade. There's one of the guys in there, Taiga, he also had, like, that kind of personality that you feel infuriating talking to him, but then he did end up to be, like, a good guy. And you're like, okay, I don't dislike you anymore. Yeah, that is it for today. Wow, that was quite the demo. It's pretty lengthy. A lot came out, so like props again to the developer. I hope their progress goes along swimmingly and they can release this in their goal in 2025. Yeah, everything was well made. Long stream, but yeah, glad you guys stuck around with me to experience this. It was fun to playing this together. And we'll keep an eye on it. And so now that we've entered... Yeah, a couple of typos here. I think especially in... I noticed them more in Highs' route, but I think because his is probably less developed, because the others had more than one chapter. So some weird grammatical structure at times, and you know, they have some typos, but overall, I didn't really feel like I ran into that many bugs or issues. Saw a couple of stuff in the prologue maybe to be fixed, but like not too bad actually overall. Will you play Obey Me in the future? I don't know actually, because you know, Obey Me had like the original Obey Me, and then I heard they came out with Obey Me Nightbringer. which was like an extension of the first game. But I wonder if it's like too late to get into it now. That's been like so long since it came out. But it's yeah, because like in the meantime, I end up playing a lot of demos for Otome games, just to like kind of try them out myself, but introduce them to others too. We are in October, which is spooky season, so I'm actually thinking of doing some of my streams to be kind of in like the spirit of Halloween. There is one horror Otome I'm thinking of, and then some other games possibly mixed in there. So yeah, I'll figure that out for next week. You have time. Trust. Alright, in any case, thank you guys again for joining me on this lovely Saturday. It was fun playing through another Otome demo. And until the next stream or video then, I will see you there. So, thank you coworkers. Take care of yourselves. Stay hydrated, and I'll see you next time. Have a good week. Have a good day, evening, morning, wherever time zone you are. Enjoy. Bye bye.